After coming out of the 9 Emperor Pavilion, Jian Wushuang and Demon Dragon Lord flew side by side in the universe void. Master, you could have asked the 9 Emperor Pavilion to hire a 4th or 5th level ruler to help you at the cost of a principal true treasure. After all, most 4th level rulers, including many 5th level rulers, don't have any principal true treasures. I'm afraid that many 4th or 5th level rulers would be willing to come at the cost of a principal true treasure, Demon Dragon Lord said. You may be right. Jian Wushuang nodded slightly. We can invite experts if we ask the 9 Emperor Pavilion to help us. However, our territory is at the edge of the universe. It's difficult to find a 4th level ruler in the nearby star fields, let alone a 5th level ruler. Therefore, even if the 9 Emperor Pavilion helps us, the experts we invite must be far away from our star field. Even if we use the universe passage to teleport, we may not be able to reach this star field in a short time. Moreover, even if there are experts who can reach this territory within 1,000 years, I still have many concerns, Jian Wushuang said seriously. Concerns? Demon Dragon Lord was puzzled. Demon Dragon, you should know that I haven't cultivated for long, only 200,000 years. However, in such a short period of time I have grown step by step. Although I am only a principal's master, my battle strength is comparable to that of a 3rd level ruler. Moreover, I have comprehended a trace of universe principle and can even take out a principal supreme treasure. Tell me, is this something that an ordinary person can do? Jian Wushuang looked at Demon Dragon Lord. It's true that ordinary people can't do it. Master's talent is incredible. Demon Dragon Lord didn't finish his words. Incredible talent can only be one of the factors, Jian Wushuang interrupted. No matter how great your talent is, if you didn't get such a great opportunity in this star field, you wouldn't be able to reach this level in such a short time. At least others must think so. Demon Dragon Lord was stunned. Then he nodded slowly. Indeed, even he thought that Jian Wushuang was too heaven-defying and too abnormal. Moreover, such heaven-defying talent could not be achieved purely by relying on his own talent. He must have gotten some great opportunities and fortunes. You think so too? Then the problem is, if I really use a principal treasure to invite a 4th or even 5th level ruler, this ruler is completely out of my control. Although I invited him, who can guarantee his character? Maybe he will think that I have a big secret and directly attack me, Jian Wushuang said. Yes, it's very possible. Demon Dragon Lord nodded heavily. In fact, Demon Dragon Lord himself did not need to be mentioned. If he was not under Jian Wushuang's control and it was his first time in the star field and he knew that Jian Wushuang was an extremely monstrous genius, he would definitely have his eyes on Jian Wushuang. Even if he was invited by Jian Wushuang, he would definitely have his eyes on Jian Wushuang. It was not unreasonable for Jian Wushuang to have such concerns. Just the Devil Cloud Star Master alone has put the divine beginning realm in great danger. Still on the brink of death. Who knows what will happen if another stronger person comes? Jian Wushuang's eyes were cold. He did not dare to gamble or place his hopes on an unfamiliar expert he did not know. Instead of relying on an external expert, he might as well rely on himself. Demon Dragon, follow me to Devil Smoke Valley first, Jian Wushuang said. Yes. Demon Dragon Lord nodded. The two immediately sped up and soon arrived at Devil Smoke Valley, one of the 3 universe battlefields. Demon Dragon, wait for me outside Devil Smoke Valley, Jian Wushuang ordered. Yes, Demon Dragon Lord answered. Jian Wushuang entered Devil Smoke Valley alone and soon arrived at the deepest part of Devil Smoke Valley. Life and Death Realm? Jian Wushuang passed the Life and Death Realm, but then he shook his head. When I left the special space, although I came out of the Life and Death Realm, the entrance to the special space might not be in the Life and Death Realm. Moreover, there is a great danger in the Life and Death Realm. I'd better not take the risk. Jian Wushuang did not choose to enter the temporal where the experts of the Lingyun branch were sleeping through the Life and Death Realm. Instead, he followed the path he had taken to enter the temporal and went to the unknown area in the Magic Smoke Valley. Then, he entered the special temporal. The gray void was vast and boundless. There was no light or sky or earth. There was only a void. This special temporal was completely different from the outside world. Fortunately, it was not Jian Wushuang's first time in this special temporal. He was not too surprised by the environment of this temporal. He directly flew toward the dark void in front of him. Jian Wushuang flew through the dark void for a long time before he saw the huge floating platform in front of him. Jian Wushuang was very familiar with that platform. When he first came to this special temporal, he was trapped by the 18-terminal formation on the platform for 97,000 years. In the end, he finally passed the 18-terminal formation with great difficulty and passed the test set up by the Lingyun Star Master. He became an inner star disciple of the Lingyun Star lineage and cultivated the supreme eternal secret skill. At that time, Jian Wushuang had met Wind Devil, a top expert from the Lingyun Star lineage, in this special space. Wind Devil was an extremely powerful supreme expert. However, he had been seriously injured in the battle and had been sleeping in this special space. When Jian Wushuang had left this special space, Wind Devil had said that if he encountered any trouble in the future, he could come to this special space to seek help. Jian Wushuang came here to ask for help. As soon as Jian Wushuang approached the huge platform, he was immediately attracted by the scene on the platform. On the platform, a young man wearing armor and with an evil face was waving a golden long spear while fighting with 6 human-shaped statues. The aura of this young man was obviously that of a principal's master, and he had reached the 6th realm of the Void Realm. His spear skills were not bad, but it was a pity that his spear skills were not a match for the 6 human-shaped statues. In the battle, he was completely overwhelmed by the 6 human-shaped statues. Soon, the young man was defeated and retreated to the center of the high platform. At this time, he noticed Jian Wushuang, who had appeared in the void near the high platform. Emperor Golden Snake. Jian Wushuang appeared on the high platform in a flash. You are Blood Sword Master? Emperor Golden Snake, an evil-looking man in armor, was surprised at first, but then he was ecstatic. I made the right bet. You made the right bet? Jian Wushuang was confused. Haha, Blood Sword Master, you don't know this, but I, Golden Snake, have a deep-seated blood feud. My wife and children died at the hands of the same person. That person is King Dongqing. Golden Snake Emperor laughed. King Dongqing. Jian Wushuang immediately thought of King Dongqing, who was very famous among the masters of the principles of this star field. King Dongqing was an expert who had reached the pinnacle of the 6 realms. In terms of strength, he was much stronger than Emperor Golden Snake. Even in my dreams, I want to kill King Dongqing. Unfortunately, I'm not strong enough to kill him. Moreover, I know that my talent is limited. Even if I were given another 1,000,000 or 10,000,000 years, I'm afraid that I wouldn't be able to do anything to King Dongqing. Therefore, I can only explore the 3 battlefields and take risks. I hope to get a great opportunity to kill King Dongqing. But such a great opportunity is hard to come by. I didn't gain anything for a long time until I found out that you survived the life and death realm. Before you entered the life and death realm, your strength was only average or even worse than mine. But after you came out of the life and death realm, your strength soared and you became the #1 principles master. Later on, you even fought against a ruler. Obviously, you reached an incredible opportunity in the life and death realm and your strength soared. Emperor Golden Snake stared at Jian Wushuang. So, you came to the life and death realm? Jian Wushuang also looked at Emperor Golden Snake. Yes, the life and death realm has always been a forbidden place. No one has ever come out alive. But you came out. Since you came out alive and got a great opportunity, why can't I? So I chose to gamble. I broke into the life and death realm and encountered several trials and tribulations in the life and death realm. Every time I narrowly escaped death. However, I was lucky and went through several trials and tribulations along the way. Only now did I come to this special temporal and come to this high platform. And now I've met you. Haha. Haha. To be able to meet you in this special temporal, it means that you really did get a great opportunity in this temporal. I bet correctly. Emperor Golden Snake laughed with a hint of madness. Jian Wushuang looked at Emperor Golden Snake with a hint of pity in his eyes. Emperor Golden Snake knew that he had come out of the life and death realm alive and that he had obtained a great opportunity and his strength had soared. Therefore, he took the initiative to enter the life and death realm to seek the same great opportunity. It had to be said that the Emperor Golden Snake was very crazy. Perhaps it was because he was burdened with a deep blood feud, but he had never been able to find any hope of revenge. It was not easy for him to finally have a chance in front of him. Even if the chance was slim, he still wanted to grab it tightly. Unfortunately, the Emperor Golden Snake was destined to be disappointed. He had obtained an opportunity in this special temporal, but as for the increase in his strength, it was purely due to his own ability during the process of obtaining the opportunity. Emperor Golden Snake's strength had reached a bottleneck, and he might not be able to break through it by himself for a long time. Now that he was trapped in the 18 Ultimate Formation, he would probably be like the previous Star Thunder ruler. He would be trapped until he died, unable to leave. Emperor Golden Snake. Jian Wushuang spoke. This temporal is indeed the place where my strength soared. There is indeed a great opportunity here, but the condition for obtaining this great opportunity is that you can break through the 18 Ultimate Formation in front of you. You have 10 million years. If you can break through the 18 Ultimate Formation in 10 million years, you will have a chance to seek revenge from King Dongqing. But if you can't, you will have to die here. 10 million years? Emperor Golden Snake narrowed his eyes and nodded solemnly. In order to avenge my wife and children, I will definitely make it. Blood Sword Master. Thank you for telling me this. I wish you good luck. Jian Wushuang took a deep look at Emperor Golden Snake and immediately left. He had long passed the test of the 18 Ultimate Formation. Now that he wanted to leave, the 18 human-shaped statues on the high platform naturally did not stop him. After passing through the high platform, Jian Wushuang continued to fly into the dark void ahead. The 18 skill formation varies from person to person. Back then, I was only an immortal saint, so the conditions for me to pass through the 18 skill formation were not that harsh. However, it took me nearly 100,000 years to barely pass through it. Emperor Golden Snake, on the other hand, is a principles master. If he wants to pass through the 18 skill formation, the conditions are much harsher. Unless he has a better understanding of sword principle than most third-level masters like I do, and has even created a unique sword skill and 2 sword formations, it's almost impossible for him to break through the 18 Ultimate Formation. Jian Wushuang shook his head and sighed. Of course, Emperor Golden Snake had another way to break through the 18 Ultimate Formation, which was to comprehend a trace of the universe principle. But was it possible? Even Jian Wushuang had only comprehended a trace of the universe principle with the help of the life core fragment of the immortal ghost demon when he had gone to the dark magic region. Emperor Golden Snake had never been exposed to the universe principle before, so how could he have the chance to comprehend it when he was trapped in the 18 Ultimate Formation? It was because of this that Jian Wushuang wished Emperor Golden Snake good luck. In his opinion, Emperor Golden Snake would not be able to walk out of this special temporal alive. Emperor Golden Snake may have lost his mind due to the death of his wife and children. In order to seek revenge, he could do anything. He knew that it would be difficult for him to survive in the life and death realm, but he still chose to gamble. Jian Wushuang sighed. If in 1,000 years the Divine Beginning Realm is defeated in the battle with the Devil Cloud Star, the Divine Beginning Realm will completely collapse. Many of my family and friends, as well as countless experts in the Divine Beginning Realm, will not be able to escape the evil hands of the Devil Cloud Star. At that time, even if I manage to escape, I will be like Emperor Golden Snake. I will go crazy and seek revenge against the Devil Cloud Star Master. Seeing Emperor Golden Snake, Jian Wushuang felt pity for him. At the same time, he thought of the situation he and the Divine Beginning Realm were facing, and his heart felt heavy. At this moment, a golden light appeared in front of Jian Wushuang. The golden light shone from the deepest part of this special temporal. As the golden light got closer and closer, the light became more and more dazzling. When it approached Jian Wushuang, the golden light was like a huge golden sun. It completely illuminated the entire temporal. The golden light dissipated and revealed the appearance of a tall cultivator. He was hundreds of feet tall, wearing golden armor, boots, and a golden puppet fighter on his head. He also held a golden spear in his hand and looked like a golden war god. Jian Wushuang, greetings, Senior Wind Devil. Jian Wushuang bowed. Seeing Wind Devil again, Jian Wushuang was still filled with shock. After all, he was a living supreme expert, different from Lord Wu of the Red Cloud world. Lord Wu's divine body was close to collapse, and he had been relying on the Red Cloud world to maintain it. Moreover, what Jian Wushuang saw in the Red Cloud world was not Lord Wu's original body, but just an incarnation. Jian Wushuang could not truly experience the power of a supreme expert. But this wind devil in front of him was his original body. Although this wind devil was still not in his peak state, and perhaps had not recovered 20 to 30% of his strength. Standing in front of Jian Wushuang now, Jian Wushuang felt as if he was facing the entire universe. He was so tall and lofty, and he was like a speck of dust in the universe, very small. Jian Wushuang felt that if Wind Devil wanted to, he could kill him countless times with just a glance. Little guy, how long have you been away from this space and time? Why are you back so soon? Wind Devil, who was in golden armor and looked like a god of war, fixed his long and narrow eyes on Jian Wushuang. Oh, I've broken through to Principle's master, and I can sense the existence of a trace of universe principle in you. What's going on? Senior Wind Devil, I've already comprehended a trace of universe principle, Jian Wushuang said and waved his hand. Immediately, the trace of universe principle power condensed in his hand. As expected, ha ha ha. Wind Devil's eyes lit up, and then he burst into laughter. His laughter was grand and ancient, so grand that it caused the temporal to tremble crazily. A principle's master can comprehend a trace of the universe's principles. You've done well for my Lingyun planet. I was right about you, Senior Wind Devil. To tell you the truth, I came here to ask for your help, Jian Wushuang said. Ask for help? Wind Devil still had a smile on his face. I did say that if you encounter any problems, you can come here to ask for my help. Tell me, what is it? It's like this. My hometown, the Divine Beginning Realm, is quite special. Jian Wushuang briefly explained the cause and effect of the incident. Within 1,000 years, if I'm not mistaken, the Devil Cloud Star army will arrive in this star field in more than 900 years. At that time, I'm not absolutely sure that I can win the war. Is that so? Wind Devil understood. In other words, in more than 900 years, you will have to face a ruler who has reached the 4th level, and this ruler has taken over a star field. Yes. Jian Wushuang nodded. That's a bit troublesome. Wind Devil frowned. My brothers were seriously injured in that battle, so they can only stay in this special space and sleep with the help of special means. Even if I can wake up occasionally, I'll have to sleep again in a while. Our original bodies won't be able to help. Previously, I told you to come find us if you ran into any trouble because I could attach a strand of my consciousness to your body. You are a perfect life-form cultivator with abundant divine power, and after becoming a principle's master, your divine power is comparable to that of an ordinary ruler. If you really encounter a powerful enemy, my consciousness will directly take over your divine body. Although I only have the divine power of an ordinary ruler, I can easily kill an ordinary 1st-level or 2nd-level ruler. I can even kill a 3rd-level ruler who is slightly weaker. This should be enough in your star field. But I didn't expect your opponent to reach the 4th level. Jian Wushuang's expression changed slightly. Wind Devil had been sleeping in this special space ever since the battle. Over the years, some cultivators had accidentally entered this special space. Wind Devil knew from those cultivators that the strongest in this space was a superior ruler of the 1st level. Occasionally, a primary ruler of the 2nd level would appear. With such strength, even if Wind Devil's true body could not attack, he could easily rely on his consciousness to attach himself to a ruler of principles. That was why Wind Devil had confidently told him that if he encountered any trouble, he could come and find them. But now, it was clear that the opponent he encountered had exceeded Wind Devil's expectations. I cannot kill a 4th-level ruler with just my consciousness attached to you. I can only give you some special treasures that will allow you to kill that Devil Cloud Star Master, Wind Devil said in a low voice. I have many of these treasures. I can even kill 5th-level rulers, ultimate rulers, and even weaker paragons, much less 4th-level rulers. The trouble is that most of these treasures require a certain level of cultivation to master or guide them out. For example, I have a Blood Demon Pearl which contains a terrifying power of Blood Demon. Once activated, it can easily kill an ultimate ruler. However, to activate the power of Blood Demon in the Blood Demon Pearl, it requires the strength of a ruler above level 4. As for other treasures, most of them are similar to this Blood Demon Pearl. Hearing this, Jian Wushuang was a little dumbfounded. He understood what Wind Devil meant. He had treasures that could kill a 4th level ruler, but the key was that these treasures were of a very high level, and they were not meant to deal with a 4th level ruler, they were meant to deal with an ultimate ruler and an absolute ruler. It was a waste of his talent to deal with a 4th level ruler. More importantly, he would not be able to use those treasures even if they were given to him. He would not be able to draw out the power within those treasures. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm an absolute ruler after all, and I'm fairly strong amongst absolute rulers. Although I've collected quite a few treasures, they are definitely of a higher level. The lower level ones are only meant to be used against 4th level and 5th level rulers. I've long since given them to my disciples. It won't be easy for you to ask me to find a treasure that can be used against 4th level rulers, and one that you, the principal's master, can guide. Wind Devil's face was also a little bitter. Little guy, don't worry. Wind Devil suddenly laughed again. Although I don't have any treasures that you can use, my brothers might have them. So wait here for a moment. I'll go and ask my brothers. Thank you, Senior, Jian Wushuang said. Wind Devil immediately turned around and walked toward the deepest part of the dark void. Jian Wushuang stood there and waited quietly. Soon, Wind Devil, who was wearing golden armor, appeared in front of Jian Wushuang again. Little guy, you're lucky. My brothers have 2 treasures that can help you. Wind Devil smiled and flipped his hand. A cyan bamboo leaf and a scarlet elixir with a unique aura appeared in front of Jian Wushuang. Bamboo leaf and blood elixir? Jian Wushuang was stunned. He first looked at the cyan bamboo leaf. The cyan bamboo leaf looked ordinary to the naked eye and was no different from an ordinary bamboo leaf. However, as Jian Wushuang's consciousness covered it, he found that there was an extremely terrifying power hidden in the bamboo leaf. This hidden power made Jian Wushuang's heart skip a beat. This bamboo leaf was originally in the hands of a 5th level master. If I'm not mistaken, it was personally refined by the 5th level master. It was probably prepared for his disciple. Unfortunately, in one encounter, the 5th level master accidentally offended one of my brothers and was killed by my brother. So the bamboo leaf fell into the hands of my brother. Mad Demon smiled. This bamboo leaf was personally refined by a 5th level ruler. Although its method is ordinary, it contains part of the power of a 5th level ruler. With your current strength, you can barely channel this power. Under normal circumstances, killing an ordinary 4th level ruler should not be a problem. Jian Wushuang's eyes immediately lit up. A treasure refined by a 5th level ruler contained part of the power of the 5th level ruler? As expected, the Devil Cloudstar Master was only a 4th level ruler, and he had just made a breakthrough. If he guided the power in the bamboo leaf, he might be able to kill the Devil Cloudstar Master. What about the blood pill? Jian Wushuang looked at the scarlet pill again. The color of the pill was like blood, and the aura it emitted was very unique. Jian Wushuang could not recognize the pill at all. Not only him, but he also could not recognize the Devil Flame, which was an ultimate level master when he was alive. This elixir is very special. Wind Devil's expression became serious. It can help you reach a new level of strength in a short time, but you will also have to pay a very high price. Unless you have no choice, I don't want you to take this elixir. Jian Wushuang could not help glancing at the scarlet elixir and asked, If I take this elixir, will I die? I might survive, but I might die directly, Wind Devil said directly. Jian Wushuang narrowed his eyes slightly. He did not expect that the second treasure Wind Devil gave him would be such a costly elixir. Once it was swallowed, it would have the power of life. I gave you this elixir as a precaution, but I don't want you to take it. Wind Devil stared at Jian Wushuang. I understand. Jian Wushuang nodded heavily and put the bamboo leaves and blood into his interspatial ring with a wave of his hand. Well, I've given you what I can. You can leave now. Wind Devil waved his hand. I'll take my leave. Jian Wushuang bowed slightly to Wind Devil, then turned around and left. Seeing Jian Wushuang leave, Wind Devil curled his lips and followed him back to the depths of this special temporal. There, several consciousnesses had woken up for a short time. Fourth brother, how is it? One of the consciousnesses asked. I've given the 2 treasures to this little guy. Wind Devil smiled. What did you tell him? Another consciousnesses asked. I'm telling the truth about the bamboo leaf, but the elixir. I said that the elixir could make him burst out with higher battle strength in a short period of time, but the price he had to pay afterward would be very high, and it might even lead to his death, Wind Devil said. You actually said that? Fourth brother, this little fellow has been deceived miserably by you. If this little fellow is really forced into a desperate situation one day and then swallowed that medicinal pill, and finds out that it's not what you said, what will happen to him? These few awakened consciousnesses began to chat. If it really comes to that time, he will definitely have the determination to die. With this sort of determination, the benefits he will receive from swallowing that medicinal pill will be even greater, Wind Devil said directly. What you said makes sense. The few ancient existences that were sleeping in this special space and time nodded their heads. These few ancient existences were all top experts under the command of the Lingyun planet's lineage. Each of them had the battle prowess of a paragon, and they were considered experts among paragons. Back then, they had followed under the command of the Lingyun planet lord and were his lackeys. In that battle, they had also displayed a very strong battle prowess. Unfortunately, the Lingyun planet lineage was nearly wiped out in the end, and countless experts were killed. Even the master of Lingyun has left and gone to God knows where. As for the few of them, they all stayed in this special temporal and fell into a deep sleep. After a long period of deep sleep, they were almost no longer involved in the affairs of the world. The reason why these consciousness woke up one after another today, and it's purely because of Jian Wushuang. Long years of sleep, not easy to a little guy into their eyes. The most important thing is that this little guy is extremely heaven-defying. They will naturally pay more attention to 1 or 2. The 2 treasures that Wind Devil gave Jian Wushuang just now. The bamboo leaf was indeed a treasure refined by a 5th-level master, which contained part of its offensive power. However, the real effect of the blood pill was not the same as what Wind Devil said. As for the price that he had to bear after swallowing it, it was actually made up by Wind Devil. What a joke. There were not many experts left in the Lingyun star lineage. Jian Wushuang had only become an inner star disciple of the Lingyun star lineage in recent years. Not only did he pass the test of the 18 ultimate formation personally set by the Lingyun star master, but he had also become an inner star disciple of the Lingyun star lineage. Now, he had grasped a trace of the universe principle at the level of a principles master. The experts of the Lingyun planet must have done their best to protect such a dazzling genius. How could they give Jian Wushuang a pill that would endanger his life if he swallowed it as a trump card? The reason why the Wind Devil Society said that was because they hoped that Jian Wushuang could rely on his own ability to survive this crisis and not use the pill. Coming out of the special space, Jian Wushuang felt much more relaxed. He had come to seek help from the experts of the Lingyun star lineage. Although he had not obtained any treasures or powers that could absolutely kill the Star Master, he had still gained a lot. The 2 treasures that Wind Devil had given him, the bamboo leaf and the blood pill, were both huge trump cards that could be used to deal with the Star Master. With these 2 trump cards in hand, Jian Wushuang was naturally more confident in dealing with the Star Master. Jian Wushuang did not stay in Devil Smoke Valley for long. He quickly left Devil Smoke Valley and met up with Demon Dragon Lord. Then, he rushed back to Star Palace as fast as he could. After returning to Star Palace, Jian Wushuang immediately went to meet with Taoist Shen God and the others, as well as Ruler Spark. Shen God, have my subordinates been honest during my time of power? Jian Wushuang asked. Not bad. Taoist Shen God smiled. I've already set aside one of the 3 Earth stars under my Star Palace for them to live in. Over the years, they've been quite well behaved except for some small requests in terms of women, food, and wine. That's good. Jian Wushuang nodded slightly. My men have been trapped in a prison for a long time. I'm afraid they've been sullen for a long time. As long as they don't ask too much, just agree to some small requests. I know. Taoist Shen God nodded with a smile. What about the experts? When the news of my Star Palace spread out, There should be many experts coming to the Star Palace, right? Jian Wushuang asked again. Of course, the lowest is a top-tier true treasure, followed by a top-tier true treasure or even a supreme true treasure as a reward. How can the principal's masters in this star field, including the rulers, resist the temptation? It has only been a few decades, but many experts have come in person or sent messages to our Star Palace, agreeing to fight for our Star Palace. This is only the beginning. I estimate that more and more experts will be invited later. In addition, the Divine Beginning Realm has relied on the Triple Tao world to produce far fewer experts. When the Devil Cloud Star army arrives, our side will be able to gather an army of hundreds of thousands of principles masters, Taoist Shen God said. Hundreds of thousands of principles masters? Jian Wushuang nodded slightly. This number was within his expectations. Stonefire, how are your preparations for the battle formation? Jian Wushuang looked at Stonefire, who was beside him. Master, the battle formation used by the principles masters is easy to solve. I have prepared a total of 4 battle formations. These 4 battle formations are used by different numbers of people, and their power is different. The simplest battle formation only needs 1,000 principles masters to work together. After the formation is completed, the battle strength of this 1,000-man battle formation is definitely above that of a first-level ruler. Even an ordinary second-level ruler would have to retreat in the face of such a 1,000-man battle formation. As for the second battle formation of a higher level, it requires 10,000 principles masters to work together, so its power is naturally stronger. As for the strongest fourth formation, it can be used by 100,000 principles masters. The ruler Spark slowly explained to Jian Wushuang, and Jian Wushuang was very satisfied. It had to be said that the ruler Spark had prepared a very full battle, and its power was also very impressive. Other than the principles master army, I have also designed some battle formations for rulers. One of them is called the Immortal Squall Battle Formation. This battle formation is extremely powerful, and even in the deepest parts of the universe, many of the god kingdoms are quite famous. And this Immortal Squall Battle Formation has a total of 5 layers. Each layer is more and more formidable, and each layer is more and more terrifying. When I was in the army of the Divine Kingdom, I had some experience with this battle formation. However, I could only comprehend the first battle formation, which required 36 experts at the ruler level, said the ruler Spark. The battle formation? Jian Wushuang was secretly surprised. One battle formation was divided into 5 different levels, and the requirements were obviously different. This battle formation was very famous in the depths of the vast universe. Its power could be imagined. 36 rulers. My servants are all very powerful. Each of them has reached the 3rd level, and they are the real experts among the 3rd-level rulers. There are more than 36 of them. If I choose 36 of them to form this Immortal Dipper battle formation, how powerful will it be? Jian Wushuang asked. Master, this is what I wanted to tell you as well. If Master can select 36 experts from the slaves to cultivate this Immortal Dipper battle formation, then even if it's just the first layer of the formation, these slaves don't need to master it to an extremely high level. As long as they master the basics with the strength of these slaves, they will be able to easily unleash the combat prowess of a 4th-level ruler. If they have a better grasp of this battle formation, their strength will be stronger by relying on the battle formation, said the ruler Spark. Hearing this, Jian Wushuang could not help but become excited. The Devil Cloud Star Master had probably reached the 4th level. None of his slaves were a match for the Devil Cloud Star Master in a one-on-one fight. Even if they joined hands, they might not be able to fight against the Devil Cloud Star Master. However, if they could use the battle formation to perfectly combine the power of these slaves, they might have a chance to fight against him. Moreover, the Immortal Dipper battle formation was so powerful. Stonefire, I want you to immediately choose 36 of my slaves to form the Immortal Dipper battle formation, Jian Wushuang said. Master, it's not difficult to form the Immortal Dipper battle formation. The key is to master the Immortal Dipper battle formation at least slightly. Only then can the Immortal Dipper battle formation have the confidence to fight against Devil Cloud Star Master. However, the Immortal Dipper battle formation is extremely complicated. It's not easy to master even the simplest first-level battle formation. There are strong and weak slaves under master's command, and there are also strong and weak slaves. The point is that they don't have much time left. They only have 900 years left. I'm worried that they won't be able to master the Immortal Dipper battle formation in such a short time, let alone master it to a certain level. Well, Jian Wushuang frowned, but suddenly he stared at him and said, "Oh, the temporal tower! The temporal tower in the temporal temple." At this moment, Jian Wushuang thought of the temporal tower that he had seen in the temporal temple, and many thoughts immediately appeared in his mind. The temporal tower could change the flow of time. Even for the simplest level, it had only been a year in the outside world. It was very magical. When Jian Wushuang first saw the temporal tower, he was very shocked by it. At that time, the temporal temple master said that he had personally refined the temporal tower. However, when he came to the universe battlefield and gradually understood the secrets of this star field and the vast universe, Jian Wushuang knew that the temple master was lying to him. Yes, the temporal tower had indeed been refined by the temple master, but the temple master had just repaired it under the premise that the temporal tower already existed. This temporal tower was a special treasure that the temporal temple master had obtained from the universe battlefield, and it was still in a damaged stage. The temporal temple master had an extremely brilliant way of using temporal. Under the premise that the temporal tower already existed, he had managed to restore a portion of the temporal tower's power. That was how the three-story temporal tower that stood in the temporal temple was created. The temporal tower can change the flow of time. Although one can hardly sense the principles of heaven and earth in the temporal tower, the universe principles, and even the sword Tao cannot be cultivated and comprehended, it is possible to study something in the temporal tower that has nothing to do with the outside world and only requires a large amount of time. For example, formations and some secret skills. In the outside world, it takes a long time to study a powerful formation, but if you study it in the temporal tower, the time will be greatly reduced. Jian Wushuang's eyes slowly lit up. "Xian God, please invite temporal here," Jian Wushuang said. A few days later, in the secret realm where the temporal temple was located in the divine beginning realm, an exquisite black tower was floating there quietly. The black tower was not tall, but it was divided into 3 levels. Temporal tower. Looking at the black tower in front of him, Jian Wushuang's eyes revealed a trace of surprise. When he was the immortal saint, he knew that the temporal tower was very magical, but he had not really cultivated in it. After all, although time flowed slowly in the temporal tower, it was isolated from heaven and earth. It could only be used to study some special methods, but it could not be used to cultivate and comprehend the principles of heaven and earth. The temporal tower is indeed extraordinary. When I first got it, I thought it was an extremely special supreme treasure, or even a principal supreme treasure. However, I found out later that it was not. It was just a special treasure in temporal. Most importantly, it was too damaged. Its internal structure and countless formations were damaged by 99%. After I got it, it took me a long time to restore it to its current state based on my understanding of temporal. Temporal Temple Master said. Temporal. There shouldn't be any restrictions for us to enter the temporal tower to study arrays or battle formations, right? Jian Wushuang asked. There are some restrictions, Temporal Temple Master said solemnly. First of all, to keep the flow of time in the temporal tower running, we need to pay a huge price. If it's only for the temporal temple, the price is a bit heavy, but for the Star Palace and the entire divine beginning realm, it's nothing. In addition, the formation of the 3rd level of the temporal tower hasn't been completely completed yet, so we can't let more than one person enter at a time. As for the 2nd and 3rd levels, there are no restrictions. Jian Wushuang nodded slightly and said, Then please do your best to maintain the operation of the temporal tower for these years. No problem. Temporal Temple Master nodded. Demon Dragon. Jian Wushuang looked behind him at the 36 people, including Demon Dragon Lord. He had selected these 36 people from his 41 slaves, including Demon Dragon Lord and Devil Scorpion Lord, the 2 most powerful experts. From today on, you 36 people will enter the 2nd floor of the temporal tower and concentrate on studying the Immortal Dipper battle formation given to you by Stone Fire Star Master. I'll give you 800 years at most. In the outside world, 800 years is equivalent to 80,000 years in the space of the second floor of the temporal tower. You should be able to master the battle formation. After 800 years you can practice it, Jian Wushuang said. Yes. The demon dragon lord and the other 36 slaves accepted the order at the same time. Stone Fire, go in with them and help them control the battle formation, Jian Wushuang instructed. Yes, master. The ruler star fire nodded. Immediately, the ruler star fire, demon dragon lord, and the other 36 slaves entered the second level of the temporal tower. After they entered the temporal tower, Jian Wushuang also walked toward the tower. He was going to the third level. The third level of the temporal tower was a simple open space. Jian Wushuang stood on the open space, but he could clearly feel that the time flow in this open space was completely different from the outside world. The time flow in the second level of the temporal tower is 100 times slower than the outside world, and the time flow in the third level is 1,000 times slower. Jian Wushuang clenched his hands. 1,000 times the flow of time. In other words, he had been cultivating here for 1,000 years, and only 1 year had passed in the outside world. Of course, the flaw was that this space was completely isolated from the outside world, so it was impossible to comprehend the principles, the universe principles, and even the sword principle. However, it was possible to study the absolute arts and perfect the sword formation. I created 3 sword skills, including the wave light sword skill and the earth protection sword formation, which have been improved into the wave light sword formation and the earth protection sword formation. These 2 sword formations have been greatly improved under the guidance of the ruler spark, but they haven't reached the limit. Jian Wushuang narrowed his eyes slightly. His 2 sword formations did have a lot of room for improvement. Not only the 2 sword formations, but also the most powerful attack swordsmanship, the obscure swordsmanship. In Jian Wushuang's opinion, it was also possible to evolve into the obscure swordsmanship. Once the obscure swordsmanship was transformed into a sword formation, his attack power would greatly increase. By then, his 3 sword formations, 1 to kill, 1 to trap, and 1 to defend, would have no flaws, then his strength would naturally be different. Whether it was evolving or continuing to perfect his sword formation, he needed a lot of time. Staying in the Eternal Tower, the flow of time was 1,000 times slower. This gave him enough time to study his 3 sword formations. Let's begin. In the space on the 3rd floor of the temporal tower, Jian Wushuang had already begun to immerse himself in the evolution and perfection of his sword formation. Time passed day by day, year by year. In the blink of an eye, 400 years had passed. It had been 400 years in the outside world, but Jian Wushuang had studied it for 400,000 years in the space on the 3rd floor of the temporal tower, where the flow of time slowed down. For Jian Wushuang, who had cultivated for less than 200,000 years, the 400,000 years was extremely long and boring. However, he had endured it. His goal was to further improve his sword formation. Thus, he could have a little more confidence when he faced the Devil Cloud Star Master. During these 400,000 years, the Wave Light Sword formation and the Earth Protection Sword formation that Jian Wushuang had evolved earlier had become more powerful, especially the Wave Light Sword formation. If it was combined with the Divine Devil Heaven Suppressing formation performed by the 3 Heaven Suppression Tablets, its power would be even stronger. As for the other attack sword formation, the Obscure Sword formation, Jian Wushuang had already completed it. Now that it had been perfected step by step, its power had also greatly increased. After reaching this step, logically speaking, Jian Wushuang did not have much room for improvement, but he was still meditating in the temporal tower. Until the 410th year, which meant the 410,000 years in the temporal tower. My young friend. The temple master's voice suddenly sounded in the 3rd level of the temporal tower. Temporal, what's the matter? Jian Wushuang raised his head slightly. The Shen god sent a message, saying that the 1st pavilion master of the 9 Emperor Pavilion, Ruler Qinyun, is now in Star Palace, the temple master said. Ruler Qinyun? Jian Wushuang's expression changed. Ruler Qinyun said that he would send me all the treasures I bought in the 9 Emperor Pavilion within 500 years. It has been 410 years. It seems that all the treasures have arrived. Since Ruler Qinyun had arrived, Jian Wushuang did not intend to continue studying in the tower. Instead, he immediately left the tower and headed for Star Palace. In the magnificent palace of Star Palace, Taoist Shen God and the heaven-cleaving Alliance Master were sitting on their thrones, while ruler Qinyun was sitting opposite them. As for the other two masters of Star Palace, the Temporal Temple Master and the Heaven Ancestor, they were all in the divine beginning realm and had no consciousness incarnations. Shen God, you and I have met several times before. Back then, you even came to my 9 Emperor Pavilion to exchange treasures. I remember the first time I saw you, you seemed to have been forced into a sorry state by your enemies. But now, you seem to be very glorious. I heard that your combat power is now comparable to that of a top-tier ruler, and you even have several supreme true treasures in your hands. TSK, TSK. I'm afraid that not many people in this star field are your match now. Ruler Qinyun laughed, but his words were filled with a hint of flattery. Ruler Qinyun, you must be joking. In terms of power, you are far more powerful than me. As for the current glory of our Star Palace, that is only because a powerful genius has appeared in our Star Palace. I, as the Palace Lord, am only relying on the good fortune of my young friend, the Heavenly Marquis. Taoist Shen God laughed as well. He felt extremely happy in his heart. Being praised depended on the person. If the person standing in front of Taoist Shen God was a principal's master, or a ruler of ordinary power, then Taoist Shen God would not care about such praise. However, the person who was praising him in front of him was ruler Qinyun. As the first pavilion lord of the 9 Emperor Pavilion, he was definitely one of the most powerful figures in this star field. Naturally, Taoist Shen God felt happy at the praise of such an expert. This meant that the current Star Palace was indeed powerful enough. It was so powerful that even ruler Qinyun had to be polite to it. Oh right, Shen God. Did you know that not long ago, that person from the ancient night demon palace left the star field? Ruler Qinyun suddenly said. Demon monarch ancient knight? He left. Taoist Shen God was startled. Although the star palace's power had been increasing at a terrifying rate over the past few years, almost every day, the principals, masters, and even rulers would come knocking on their doors and agree to fight for the star palace. In just a few centuries, now, the overall power of Star Palace had reached an incredible level. To put it bluntly, over 50% of the power of this star field was already on Star Palace's side. There was no other way. The temptation of top-tier true treasures, pinnacle true treasures, and even supreme true treasures was irresistible in this star field. However, although Star Palace was extremely powerful and gradually suppressed Demon Monarch Ancient Knight's Ancient Knight Demon Palace, Demon Monarch Ancient Knight was still a top-tier power in this star field. Under the premise that Star Palace didn't make a move, no one in this star field could rival it. But now, the Demon Monarch had left this star field. The departure of the Demon Monarch might have something to do with the experts brought back by the Heaven Marquis. Taoist Shen God could not help thinking. He was right. Under normal circumstances, the Demon Monarch had just come out of the Eternal Dark Prison and had not enjoyed many happy days, so he was not in a hurry to leave. However, after Jian Wushuang entered the Eternal Dark Prison and brought back a large number of experts, Demon Monarch Ancient Knight could no longer sit still. After all, any one of the experts Jian Wushuang brought back could easily kill him. Any one of them was an existence that he looked up to. Although he knew that these experts were now Jian Wushuang's servants and listened to his orders, he could not guarantee that Jian Wushuang would loosen the restrictions on these experts. If any of them disliked him, they might kill him directly. After all, he was just a master at the peak of the 2nd level, but he had created a great force in this star field and became an ruler. He was very happy, but these stronger 3rd-level experts, even Demon Dragon Lord and Devil Scorpion Lord, who were once Eternal Prison Monarch, could only become servants and follow Jian Wushuang's orders. Such a completely different treatment would inevitably make these people feel unbalanced and jealous. Therefore, it was wise for Demon Monarch Ancient Knight to choose to leave the star field. Well, the Heaven Marquis has returned to Star Palace. Taoist Shen God suddenly raised his head. Is he back? Ruler Qinyun's eyes lit up, and he immediately stood up. Soon, Jian Wushuang appeared in the hall. Ruler Qinyun. Jian Wushuang greeted Ruler Qinyun with a smile. As for Taoist Shen God and the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance Master, he just nodded. Blood Sword Master, I heard that you've been cultivating in the Divine Beginning realm for years. I hope I didn't disturb you, Ruler Qinyun said. My strength has reached a bottleneck. Even though I've been cultivating all these years, my progress has been very slow. There's no need to disturb me. I hope you've come to bring me good news, Ruler Qinyun. Jian Wushuang smiled at Ruler Qinyun. Blood Sword Master, I've brought everything you asked for. As promised, I'll deliver it to you within 500 years. Ruler Qinyun did not disappoint Jian Wushuang. He took out an interspatial ring and handed it to Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang took it and scanned it with his consciousness. His eyes immediately lit up. Inside the interspatial ring were the Goldfire Magic Stone, Ice Essence Crystal, Blood Dragon Crystal, and other special gems he had bought in the Nine Emperor Pavilion. He also needed many special treasures to cultivate the second and third levels of the Supreme Immortal Celestial Body, including the extremely special Gold Origin Divine Fruit. The Nine Emperor Pavilion hasn't disappointed me, Jian Wushuang said. Of course, Ruler Qinyun said with a smile. By the way, the Nine Emperor Pavilion has been paying attention to the movement of the Devil Cloud Star for years. Not long ago, we received intelligence that the Devil Cloud Star army stopped for a short period of time when they passed by a star field. Of course, they didn't stay for a long time, less than a year. As for the purpose of their stay, we don't know yet. The Nine Emperor Pavilion will help you figure it out as soon as possible. Thank you. Jian Wushuang thanked him. You're welcome. Blood Sword Master, you're a friend of the Nine Emperor Pavilion. It's nothing, Ruler Qinyun said humbly. If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave. Qinyun, I'll see you off. Taoist Shen God immediately stood up to see him off. Jian Wushuang stood where he was and looked at the interspatial ring in his hand, his eyes shining brightly. Not long after, Jian Wushuang returned to the temporal tower. Time flowed slowly in the temporal tower. Not only could it be used to study formations, but it could also be used to cultivate secret skills. Devil Flame, 30 Goldfire Magic Stones, 50 Ice Essence Crystals, and 300 Blood Dragon Crystals. I'll send them into the Blood Red Gourd now. You can devour and absorb them yourself, Jian Wushuang said. Sure. Devil Flame nodded with a hint of excitement in his voice. Don't worry, Master. With these crystals, my gold-devouring divine body will recover to 20% of its peak soon. By then, my soul will be able to control this divine body and at least recover to the peak of the third level. However, with my skills, even if I'm only at the peak of the third level, I can still exert the battle strength of a fourth-level ruler. As for the Devil Cloud Star Master, he must have just reached the fourth level. I'm 90% sure that I can defeat him. As for killing him, I'm not less than 50% sure. Well, then you work hard. Jian Wushuang was quite satisfied with Devil Flame's answer. 90% defeat and nearly 50% kill was already very high. It was worth it for him to pay a great price to get these special crystals for Devil Flame. After Jian Wushuang put the Goldfire Magic Stone, Ice Essence Crystal, and Blood Dragon Crystal into the Blood Red Gourd, he sat down cross-legged. With a wave of his sleeve, one special treasure after another appeared in front of him. There were dozens of different kinds of treasures, all of which were used to assist in cultivating the second level of the supreme level undying celestial body. Let's begin. Jian Wushuang's face was solemn. The supreme immortal celestial body was an internal star secret skill of the Lingyun star branch. It was a high-level secret skill that could even be cultivated by an expert of the supreme realm. It would be of great use to an expert of the supreme realm if he succeeded in cultivating it. Jian Wushuang could cultivate the first 3 levels at the same time as he was now a principal's master. It had taken him a lot of time just to cultivate the first level. Naturally, it would take him longer to cultivate the second and third levels. Fortunately, he was in the temporal tower, so the flow of time was 1,000 times slower than in the outside world. Otherwise, even if he got these treasures, Jian Wushuang was not confident that he could complete the second and third levels of the Supreme Immortal Body before the arrival of the Devil Cloud Star Army. He had completed the second and third levels of the Supreme Immortal Body. Time passed. It had been 3,000 years in the temporal tower and only 3 years in the outside world. Jian Wushuang had already completed the second level of the supreme immortal body. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Jian Wushuang was still sitting cross-legged on the open space on the third level of the temporal tower. His divine body was trembling slightly, but Jian Wushuang could clearly sense that his divine body was emitting an extremely powerful aura. An extremely powerful aura. Yes, it was powerful. The first level of the supreme eternal celestial body allowed Jian Wushuang's divine body to directly rival that of an elementary universe supreme treasure. Now that he had cultivated the second level, Jian Wushuang carefully examined and tested it. He estimated that his divine body could already match that of an ordinary top-tier supreme treasure. A divine body that matches that of a top-tier universe supreme treasure. Jian Wushuang narrowed his eyes slightly. Under normal circumstances, the first level of the supreme imperishable body was the entry level, and it could only match that of an elementary universe supreme treasure. If he succeeded in cultivating the second level, his divine body could generally reach that of an advanced universe supreme treasure, and there were a few who had a solid foundation. Those with strong physiques could reach the level of a top-tier supreme treasure. Jian Wushuang was obviously a person with a strong foundation and an extremely strong physique. Once he completed the second level, his divine body would directly be comparable to a top-tier supreme treasure. This is only the second level. Next, it will be the third level. Jian Wushuang's eyes shone with a fierce light. He waved his sleeve again, and dozens of different treasures appeared in front of him. The most eye-catching one was the golden divine fruit. The golden origin divine fruit was extremely valuable. Just by consuming it, one's divine body could be greatly strengthened. It was also a rare treasure in the vast universe. Many masters in the fourth or even the fifth level longed for such a treasure. It was used to strengthen their divine bodies. If the golden origin divine fruit was refined into elixirs with some special techniques or cultivated with secret skills, the effect would be better. Now, the golden origin divine fruit was the most important part of the many treasures Jian Wushuang needed to cultivate the third level of the supreme immortal body. In the temporal tower, Jian Wushuang cultivated the third level of the supreme immortal body again. It took him more time to cultivate the third level than the second level. It took him 8,000 years, but it only took him 8 years in the outside world. I've succeeded in cultivating the third level of the supreme immortal body. Jian Wushuang clenched his hands. He could feel that his divine body had undergone a huge transformation. His eyes were filled with unconcealable joy and excitement. He could feel that after cultivating the third level of the supreme immortal body, his divine body had become dozens of times stronger than before. If his previous divine body was only barely comparable to a top-tier universe true treasure, now his divine body was comparable to a supreme true treasure. Yes, it was a supreme true treasure. The third level of the supreme undying mysterious body was the limit that Principles Masters could cultivate, and his divine body was comparable to a supreme universe true treasure. This was the limit that Principles Masters could reach in their divine bodies in the vast universe, and this divine body was a legend among Principles Masters. But now Jian Wushuang had achieved it. A divine body comparable to a supreme true treasure. It's much stronger than before, Jian Wushuang murmured. Before, he had only cultivated the first stage, and his divine body was comparable to a primary true treasure. Now it was a supreme true treasure, separated by several levels. How could it be the same? Now, he had such a terrifying and tyrannical divine body. If he encountered a first-level ruler, Jian Wushuang would not even need to move, even if a superior ruler personally attacked him. He would allow his opponent to attack him, but if he was struck by Jian Wushuang, he would not even need to move. At most, it would only tickle him. After all, in this star field, the highest-level divine weapon used by the rulers was the Supreme Universe True Treasure. The strongest Universe Supreme Treasure was so tough that a full-strength attack from a first-level ruler would not be able to shake it at all. Even his slaves, who were all third-level rulers and were extremely powerful among the third-level masters, were not able to hurt Jian Wushuang even if he did not attack or block them. These slaves would not cause him much harm. If he wore the supreme-grade Supreme Treasure Armor, Ice Soul Armor, these slaves would find it even harder to hurt him. Moreover, His divine body was comparable to a supreme treasure, which not only improved his divine body's strength and protective ability, but the power contained in such a powerful divine body was also ridiculously strong. After all, Jian Wushuang was only a principle's master. In terms of divine power, he had always been at an absolute disadvantage compared to other rulers. Even though he was a perfect life form, his divine power was only comparable to that of a primary ruler of the first level. Even though he had used many secret skills and the power of his will, which was given by the universe principles, his divine power was still very weak and could only reach the second level. With the help of the Wu Weeping Divine Sword, he could only reach the peak of the second level. But this was his limit, unless he used the dragon exterminating secret skill to burn his divine power. But now, Jian Wushuang's divine body, which was at the most powerful supreme treasure level, was no weaker than the ruler, who was at the peak of the first level. With the use of many secret skills, his divine power could reach the peak of the second level. With the help of the Wuxia divine sword, his power should be comparable to that of a third-level ruler. This was undoubtedly a huge improvement in his overall strength. The 3 sword formations I created are very exquisite. After years of studying in the Eternal Tower, I have improved them to the extreme. The sword formations are extremely powerful. Now that my divine power has increased, the 3 sword formations will be even more terrifying. Jian Wushuang clenched his hands. His own strength was also very important in the upcoming battle with the Devil Cloud Star. After knowing that the Devil Cloud Star army would arrive in this star field within 1,000 years, Jian Wushuang had already begun to calculate the combat strength and trump cards of his camp. On the surface, the Star Palace had gathered a large number of principles masters in this star field over the years. In addition, the Divine Beginning Realm had given birth to a large number of experts with the help of the Triple Tao world. When the battle with the Devil Cloud Star began, there would definitely be an army of hundreds of thousands of principles masters, and these principles masters all had top-tier true treasures or pinnacle true treasures. In addition, these principles masters had also formed battle formations, so the combat power they could deliver would be even stronger. As for rulers, there were also quite a number of them in his camp, and all of them had supreme true treasures. It was even possible that a ruler might have a few supreme true treasures. All of these were power on the surface. These powers were not a secret in this star field at the moment. Most people knew that when the Devil Cloud Star army arrived, they could ask anyone. They probably knew that the Divine Beginning Realm would have an army of so many principles masters and many rulers. However, this kind of power on the surface could only deal with the army under Devil Cloud Star. Devil Cloud Star was, after all, a second-grade astral world, and it had an extremely high level of combat power. Just that Devil Cloud Star Master alone should be a 4th-grade ruler, and he also had many experts under his command. Most likely, there were many 3rd-grade and 2nd-grade rulers. The Divine Beginning Realm camp could not resist or even resist the top battle strength of Devil Cloud Star. However, the Divine Beginning Realm did not show it on the surface, and there were also many hidden battle strength. Just the 41 slaves that Jian Wushuang brought back from the Eternal Dark Prison alone were powerful enough to deal with the Devil Cloud Star army and other experts apart from Devil Cloud Star Master. The existence of these slaves was a secret in the Star Palace, and not many people knew about it. Even if Devil Cloud Star could get the news through some means, he could not know the level of the experts that Jian Wushuang brought back. When the real war broke out, the experts of the 2 camps would fight each other. If the experts of the Divine Beginning Realm were to come out, they would be able to crush the Devil Cloud Star army. However, there was only one person in the camp of Devil Cloud Star that Jian Wushuang feared, and that was Devil Cloud Star Master. After all, he was a 4th-level master. Even if he had just made a breakthrough, he would not be easy to deal with. Jian Wushuang was also prepared for Devil Cloud Star Master's methods. He now had 3 great battle forces and 2 trump cards, which were used to deal with Devil Cloud Star Master. The first battle power was himself. He was undoubtedly the strongest in the Divine Beginning Realm. When he was in the Eternal Dark Prison, he had obtained 3 Heaven Suppression Tablets, used the Divine Devil Heaven Suppressing Formation, and used his own sword formation. He already had the strength to kill the Demon Dragon Lord. Now, He had spent more than 400,000 years in the Eternal Tower to study and develop the three sword formations. They were extremely powerful, and he had cultivated the supreme eternal celestial body to the third level, which was comparable to the divine body of the most powerful supreme treasure. His strength had soared again. Now, if he used the divine devil heaven-suppressing formation with all his strength, he was confident that he could fight Devil Cloud Star Master head-on. Even if he could not defeat him, he would be able to trap him with the sword formation. Even if Devil Cloud Star Master's strength was beyond his expectations, Jian Wushuang could just use the dragon exterminating secret skill and burn his divine power to increase his strength again. By then, he could also fight Devil Cloud Star Master head-on. If Devil Cloud Star Master's strength was lower than he expected, he could kill Devil Cloud Star Master on the spot by using the dragon exterminating secret skill and controlling the sword formation with all his strength. Jian Wushuang alone had the ability to fight against the Devil Cloud Star Master Star. The second most powerful battle force was the Immortal Dipper battle formation formed by his 36 slaves. The Immortal Dipper battle formation was the strongest battle formation that the Master of Stone Spark could produce. It only required 36 masters to work together, and his 36 slaves all had the battle strength of third-level masters. When the 36 slaves worked together in the battle formation, their battle strength could reach the fourth level in a short time, and they were even very powerful among the fourth-level masters. Over the years, the 36 slaves had stayed in the temporal tower to meditate on the battle formation, and they had basically mastered it. It meant that the battle formation would be able to operate when the battle on the Devil Cloud Star broke out. As for the third battle strength, it was Devil Flame. At the peak of Devil Flame, he was a master at the ultimate level. Although he only had a soul body now, his gold-swallowing divine body had begun to be rebuilt. He relied on the Goldfire Magic Stone, Ice Essence Crystal, and Blood Dragon Crystal that Jian Wushuang had bought from the 9 Emperor Pavilion. Devil Flame's gold-swallowing divine body could recover to 20%. By then, Devil Flame's soul body would dominate the gold-swallowing divine body, which was also a fourth-level master's battle strength. According to what Devil Flame said, he was 90% sure that he could defeat the Devil Cloud Star Master, and he was almost 50% sure that he could even kill him. Jian Wushuang, Devil Flame, and 36 slaves formed an Immortal Dipper battle formation. These were the three strongest battle forces that Jian Wushuang could use, which were enough to compete with the Devil Cloud Star Master. In addition, Jian Wushuang had 2 trump cards. These 2 trump cards were naturally the Bamboo Leaf and Blood Pill that Wind Devil gave him. These 2 trump cards could be said to be 2 killing moves that could be used at critical moments to kill the Devil Cloud Star Master. Of course, Bamboo Leaf was fine, but the Blood Pill, Wind Devil said that he would pay a huge price if he swallowed the Blood Pill and might even die. Jian Wushuang did not doubt it. Therefore, the Blood Pill, it was definitely his last choice. He would not use it unless it was absolutely necessary, but he would fight with Devil Cloud Star Master. 3 battle strength and 2 killing moves. This was everything that Jian Wushuang had prepared. He believed that the methods he had prepared should be enough to deal with Devil Cloud Star Master. If even these methods could not deal with Devil Cloud Star Master, then he had no other way. Phew! Jian Wushuang exhaled and slowly stood up. He looked around at the void. In the past years in the Eternal Tower, I have improved everything that I can. Even if I continue to stay here to cultivate, I'm afraid it won't help me much. Instead, it's a waste of time. It's time to leave. Jian Wushuang smiled faintly and then left the tower. After leaving the tower, Jian Wushuang did not go to the Star Palace. Instead, he chose to return to the Eternal Saint World. In the Eternal Saint World, Jian Wushuang's family lived here. Father, mother. Jian Wushuang stood in front of his parents, who had been here for 2 lifetimes. Shuang, I heard that the Divine Beginning Realm will suffer a catastrophe soon. It's hard to predict whether they will live or die. Now, the top experts of the Divine Beginning Realm have gathered together and are trying to increase their strength in preparation for the upcoming war. You are now one of the leaders of the Divine Beginning Realm. Why didn't you prepare for the war? Why did you come back? Jian Nantian frowned. I've prepared everything I can for this battle, and my strength has reached a bottleneck. I can't improve in a short period of time. Therefore, I'm afraid that I won't be able to improve even a little bit in the next few hundred years, even if I concentrate on cultivating. I might as well spend some time with you. Jian Wushuang smiled. Filial piety was the first priority. Jian Wushuang had been working hard and making preparations for the upcoming disaster in the divine beginning realm, but he had not been able to spend time with his family. Even his wife had been separated for so long. He had only spent a few thousand years alone with his wife. But now the real disaster was coming. What Jian Wushuang wanted to do most was to spend time with his family. Child. Now that the divine beginning realm is in danger, the first thing you should think about is how to deal with this disaster. Luo Xinqin walked up and muttered a few words, but the smile on her face showed that she was still very happy. In the next few hundred years, our family will take a good look around the divine beginning realm. Shuang what do you think? Jian Wushuang looked at the peerless beauty beside him with a gentle gaze. I'll listen to you, husband. Leng Rushuang smiled. For Leng Rushuang, the safety of the divine beginning realm was not important. What she really cared about was that she could stay by Jian Wushuang's side. That was enough. Let's go. Call Uncle Xiao and the others, as well as Big Brother Wang Yuan, second brother and fourth brother. We'll set off together. Jian Wushuang smiled. Okay. Everyone responded. Soon, more than 100 people were sent out. Among them were Jian Wushuang's family and friends, his disciples, and their children. More than 100 people began to travel in a warship that could fly in the divine beginning realm. They traveled from the eternal saint world to the third heaven and then to the endless territory. There were no obstacles along the way, and no one or anything disturbed them. Jian Wushuang gave up cultivation and spent hundreds of years with his wife. He spent time with his family and friends. They traveled around the world and saw all kinds of things. If they were bored, they would stop in a territory and live there for 10 or dozens of years. They lived a very happy and warm life. Unfortunately, such a happy and warm life did not last long, only 530 years. One day, 530 years later, the Chunyun ruler sent a message to Jian Wushuang. Blood Sword Master, the universe boat that Devil Cloud Star Master is on has arrived near the star field. It will be here in a month at most. Is it finally here? Jian Wushuang narrowed his eyes and looked at his family and friends. Sorry, I have to leave now. Hearing Jian Wushuang's words, the warship, which had been laughing and laughing, suddenly turned cold. They all knew that the happy and warm days of hundreds of years had come to an end. As for whether they would still have such days, it would depend on the outcome of the next big battle. The vast and boundless universe void space was pitch black, and no light could be seen. An ancient and huge universe boat was shuttling through the dark void space. This universe boat was incredibly fast. It was obviously huge and heavy, but it could fly through the dark void space of the universe. It was like a fish shuttling through water. Within the universe boat, there were many powerful and majestic energies. Whether it was the cabin or the deck, there were many great beings standing there. Most of them were principals masters, but there were also many rulers. And at the core of this universe boat, there was clearly a golden and resplendent palace. In the center of the palace, two figures were sitting on towering thrones, with fine wine and delicacies placed in front of them. In a few days I will be able to resist that star field. TSK, speaking of which, I have taken over a star field in this star field. However, my true body spends most of its time in the Devil Cloud Star. As for this star field, I seldom come here. I remember that the last time I came to this star field was a very, very long time ago. A loose green robe was placed on the middle-aged man's back. A middle-aged man with short hair held a bowl of wine inside. He had a unique smile on his face. At first glance, this green-robed middle-aged man gave people a gentle and refined feeling. However, his eyes were strangely golden, which made him even more bewitching. And his identity was the Star Devil Cloud Star Master. He was also the source of this catastrophe in the divine beginning realm. Countless years ago, if Devil Cloud Star Master had not come to this star area and accidentally found the embryonic stage of the divine beginning realm and seized it, many things would not have happened. The divine beginning realm would also be very stable. Unfortunately, because of this Devil Cloud Star Master, everything changed. Right now, the entire Divine Beginning realm was in a crisis because of this Devil Cloud Star Master. Once they failed to survive, countless creatures in the Divine Beginning realm would lose their lives. Devil Cloud, we agreed that when we get to that heavenly realm, you have to let me take a good look at the heavenly realm that you've taken over. It would be best if you let me enter that heavenly realm to take a stroll, said a man in purple armor who was sitting opposite Devil Cloud Star Master. Let's go, said a man in purple battle armor. This man in purple battle armor had a burly figure. At first glance, he looked like a huge mountain. He was sitting opposite the Devil Cloud Star Master, and his words and actions did not carry any hint of reverence. Moreover, the Devil Cloud Star Master had clearly interacted with him on an equal level. Shihua, don't worry. You can forget about just taking a look at my astral world. Even if you want to stay there for a long time, you can do so as long as you want, said the Devil Cloud Star Master with a smile. I don't plan on staying in your astral world for long. I'm just curious and want to take a look. Although it's only a grade 3 astral world, it's after all a self-nurtured place in the vast universe. To be able to possess such an astral world, TSK, it's really enviable. The purple armored man praised, but at the same time he did not hide his envy. Haha, I was just lucky. Back then, when I was forced into a corner in Devil Cloud Star, I came to other territories to try my luck. In the end, I really hit the jackpot. Devil Cloud Star Master laughed. Of course I was lucky. However, you didn't die when you took over a star world. Instead, you succeeded in taking over. Your ability isn't weak either, the purple armored man praised. He was very clear that even if it was an embryonic astral world, it would still be extremely difficult for him to take over it. The reason why the Devil Cloud Star Master was able to succeed was because of his own experiences. He was forced into a corner by others. It was not easy for him to find a great opportunity. Naturally, he gambled everything. He did not leave any way out for himself before he succeeded in taking over it. Devil Cloud Star Master and the purple armored man were casually chatting and laughing. Suddenly, Devil Cloud Star Master's expression changed. He had already sensed the two people waiting in the void space in front of the universe boat. Let the two people in front come up. Devil Cloud Star Master sent a message to the great beings on the universe boat. Soon, the universe boat stopped in the dark void space in front of them. The two human figures who had been waiting there for a long time arrived on the universe boat, and they soon appeared in front of Devil Cloud Star Master. Greetings, Devil Cloud Star Master. The two people who arrived bowed slightly to Devil Cloud Star Master with a hint of humility. Star Luo, Sorcerer God. You two are hiding here? Devil Cloud Star Master looked at the two people in front of him with interest. They were Master Star Luo and Sorcerer God. Master Star Luo was Lung Rushua's master. Although she was not an expert under Devil Cloud Star Master, she had worked with him before. Previously, Jian Wushuang had tried to help his wife, Leng Rushuang, recover her divine body. He had also tried to find Master Star Luo, but unfortunately, he had not been able to find her. As for the Sorcerer God, he had once controlled the Sorcerer God sect in the Divine Beginning realm and stood on the same side as the three saint realms. He had also attacked Jian Wushuang. Later, after Jian Wushuang had destroyed the three saint realms, he had also tried to find and kill the Sorcerer God. However, the Sorcerer God seemed to have vanished without a trace. Now, the two people Jian Wushuang was looking for had appeared here. It can't be helped. The Star Palace has complete control over the star field. Their forces are everywhere in the star field, including the three universe battlefields. The Star Palace and Jian Wushuang have been looking for us. If we were still in the star field, they would have found us long ago. We can only stay at the edge of the star field and wait for your arrival, Devil Cloud Star Master. The Sorcerer God said with a dry smile. Sorcerer God, do you remember our agreement? Devil Cloud Star Master stared at the Sorcerer God. Of course I do. But since the three saint realms were uprooted by Jian Wushuang, all my plans have stopped. I can't do anything about it, the Sorcerer God said. That's not a problem. After I flatten the star field and kill Jian Wushuang and his people, you can do it again, said Devil Cloud Star Master. That's true. However, the power of Jian Wushuang and the divine beginning realm is no longer the same as before. I'm afraid it won't be easy to completely uproot the resistance of the divine beginning realm, said the sorcerer god. Oh, the Star Master raised his eyebrows. Then tell me, how strong has the resistance of the divine beginning realm become over the years? Devil Cloud Star Master, as far as I know, because of that Bloodsword Master, the divine beginning realm has obtained a large number of resources and treasures. At the same time, they've also gathered a large number of experts. Especially in recent years, they've gathered nearly 70% of the upper echelons of this star field. Sorcerer God began to narrate. After listening to the Sorcerer God's explanation, the look on the Star Master's face did not change at all. Almost 70% of the upper-level battle strength in the entire star field? The Star Master sneered. They are just ants at the level of Principal's Masters. No matter how many there are, they are still ants. They are not worth mentioning in front of my army. In addition, I heard that Jian Wushuang brought back a group of experts from somewhere not long ago. There are about 30 to 40 of them. They seem to be quite strong, the Sorcerer God added. Jian Wushuang brought back a group of experts from the Eternal Dark Prison. This matter was still considered a secret in this star field. Even in the Star Palace, not many people knew about it. However, the Sorcerer God, who had been hiding at the edge of the star field, actually knew about it. A group of experts? How strong can they be? Devil Cloud Star Master looked down. They should all be rulers. As for their specific battle strength, I'm not sure, Sorcerer God said. Haha, rulers? The rulers of this star field were only at the first level. At most, there would be 1 or 2 second-level rulers. In front of me, how could they be considered experts? Ridiculous. Devil Cloud Star Master laughed. He still did not care. Hearing this, Sorcerer God gave Devil Cloud Star Master a meaningful glance, but did not say anything else. All right, if there's nothing else, you can leave first. Devil Cloud Star Master waved his hand. Yes. Sorcerer God nodded, bowed, and left. After Sorcerer God left, Devil Cloud Star Master's expression was still calm, but the purple-armored man sitting next to him frowned. Devil Cloud, who was that person just now? The purple-armored man asked. It was a sovereign who had submitted to me not long ago. When he found out that I had taken over an astral world, he took the initiative to look for me and work for me. Although I had taken over that astral world previously, I did not know how to make the most of it. It was the Sorcerer God who told me how to make use of it. He was the one who came up with the plan, the Star Lord said. Is that so? The violet-armored man nodded slightly. However, he continued, I just met this person. Although he appears to be at the level of an ordinary ruler, he still gives me a feeling that I am unable to completely see through him. Devil Cloud, when you are facing him, have you ever felt this way? Now that you mention it, there is indeed a bit of truth to it. Perhaps there are some secrets hidden within him, but no matter what, he is just an ordinary first-level ruler. You and I can casually kill him with a single slap. We don't have to worry about him stirring up any trouble. Devil Cloud Star Master said. That's true. The violet-armored man nodded slightly. Next, Devil Cloud Star Master turned to look at Ruler Star Luo. Star Luo, take out my treasure. Devil Cloud Star Master said. Ruler Star Luo immediately waved his hand. Instantly, a pitch-black spear that emanated an endless aura of destruction appeared in the void space of the palace. This black spear did not just exude an incredibly dense aura of destruction. More importantly, it was emanating a unique power that even the purple-armored man was surprised by. Devil Cloud, what's going on with this spear? It's clearly not a principal true treasure, but why does it give me such a unique feeling? The purple-armored man asked. Haha, of course it's special. This spear comes from the great universe godly palace, and it has a trace of special power. Because of this trace of special power, this spear is much more valuable than ordinary supreme true treasures. It's not much weaker than a principal true treasure, said Devil Cloud Star Master. A treasure from the great universe godly palace? No wonder. The purple-armored man looked surprised, and then he felt relieved. Star Luo, thank you for taking back the spear for me. I owe you one. After this incident, I will completely wipe out this star field. I will give you the thing you need, said Devil Cloud Star Master. Then I'll wait for your good news, Devil Cloud Star Master. After saying that, Master Star Luo turned around and left. In the temple, Devil Cloud Star Master and the purple-armored man continued to talk. The speed of Universe Boat did not slow down at all. Soon, it had passed through the vast dark void and officially entered the star field. In the divine beginning realm, the eternal sacred world. After receiving the message from the Chenyun ruler, Jian Wushuang returned with his family and friends. Father, mother, and everyone, are you sure you don't want to leave the divine beginning realm? Jian Wushuang looked solemnly at his two-time parents and his family and friends. With the war coming, he planned to take his family and friends out of the divine beginning realm first. With his current strength and means, he could find a place for them to live in this star field, such as in other star worlds, so that he could at least ensure the safety of his family members. Unfortunately, when he brought this up, none of his family members were willing to leave. They did not have any intention of leaving. Instead, they wanted to stay in the divine beginning realm. Shuang-er, you don't have to say anymore. We've already thought about it clearly. We'll stay in the divine beginning realm and live and die with it, said Jian Nantian. Right? The divine beginning realm gave birth to us. It's our hometown. Our hometown has suffered a great calamity. Although we can't help much, we won't abandon it and run away alone. Moreover, we've already lived long enough. Even if the divine beginning realm collapses in the next moment and we all die, I don't have anything to regret. Zhui Yunfeng also smiled. We tried to escape once when you met a great enemy. We don't plan to experience that again, Luo Xinqin added. Not only Jian Wushuang's parents, but also Wang Yuan, Yang Zishuan, Su Rou, and others were unyielding. No one chose to abandon the divine beginning realm and escape alone. They all intended to share life and death with the divine beginning realm. Jian Wushuang was helpless about this, and he could not force them. After all, he was also a member of the divine beginning realm. In this difficult time, he had to shoulder the burden for the divine beginning realm. He also decided to share life and death with the divine beginning realm. If he was like this, how could he restrain or force the people around him? If that's the case, then we will be with the divine beginning realm in life and death. Jian Wushuang clenched his hands. Many of his closest relatives and friends in front of him also smiled, and their eyes were filled with determination. Looking at the determination in the eyes of his close friends and relatives, Jian Wushuang's heart was in turmoil. He knew that he had no way to retreat in the following battle. Once he was defeated, he could not bear the consequences. Therefore, he must win this battle no matter how much he had to pay. Everyone, I'll go first, Jian Wushuang said in a deep voice. I'll go with you. Lung Rushuang walked over and held Jian Wushuang's hand. Yes, we'll go together. Jian Wushuang nodded. Immediately, the husband and wife set off at the same time and headed toward the gathering place of experts from the divine beginning realm. Jian Nantian, Ji Wuming, Zhui Yunfeng, Luo Xinqin, Wang Yuan, Yang Zishuan, Su Rou, Jian Wushuang's closest relatives and life and death brothers all watched Jian Wushuang and his wife leave. There was not only determination in their eyes, but also anticipation. They were also roaring crazily in their hearts. We must win! We must win! Outside the divine beginning realm, in the void near the edge of the universe, countless experts were gathered here at this moment. These experts were from the divine beginning realm, a large number of experts who had been promoted in the shortest time by relying on the Triple Tao world, and many principles masters who already existed in the divine beginning realm. There were a total of 140,000 principles masters. There were also countless great beings recruited by Star Palace who had relied on a large number of top-tier true treasures and pinnacle true treasures over the years. In addition to the great beings who were already under them, the number was even more exaggerated. There were a total of 560,000 of them. The 560,000 principles masters from Star Palace, together with the 140,000 principles masters from the divine beginning realm, made up a total of 700,000. There were 700,000 Principles Masters in the army. Although the strength levels of these Principles Masters were different, many of them were only in the 2nd or 3rd Void Realm. There were many experts in the 4th, 5th, 6th, and even the ultimate 6 Void Realms in the army. Moreover, the 700,000 Principles Masters had another characteristic, which was that each of them had a supreme true treasure at the very least. As for those who were slightly stronger, they used a pinnacle true treasure. Of course, with Star Palace's original resources, even with the 100,000 pinnacle true treasures that Jian Wushuang had brought back previously, it was still impossible for the 700,000 Principles Masters to have a pinnacle true treasure or a pinnacle true treasure. The reason why it could be completed now was that Jian Wushuang had gone to the Red Cloud world personally not long ago. He had found Lord Wu in the Red Cloud world, and Lord Wu had promised to give him another batch of true treasures. This batch of true treasures contained a total of 1 million top-tier true treasures and 300,000 pinnacle true treasures. With the addition of this batch of true treasures, the true treasures in Star Palace would naturally be incomparably abundant. Even if the army of 700,000 Principles Masters was given a top-tier or even pinnacle true treasure, there would still be a large amount of surplus in Star Palace. This army of 700,000 Principles Masters, who each had a top-tier or even pinnacle true treasure, under the command of Ruler Spark, formed a total of 7 huge battle formations. Each battle had 100,000 people, which was equivalent to 7 legions. Any legion could unleash terrifying power with the help of a battle formation. If the 7 legions were divided, each 10,000 people could form a battle formation of 10,000 people, and the power they could unleash was not weak either. When the battle formation of 10,000 people was divided again, it was a battle formation of 1,000 people. In short, in less than 1,000 years, under the control of an array master like Ruler Spark, the power of this army of Principles Masters had increased by many times. This was only at the level of Principles Masters. As for rulers, in the past 1,000 years, Star Palace had recruited many rulers with supreme true treasures. In total, there were more than 30 of them, and all of them had supreme true treasures. Some of them had 2 or 3 supreme true treasures, so their battle strength was not low. These were the battle strength that had been shown on the surface. As for the other battle strength, such as Jian Wushuang's servants, they had not shown up except for the ruler star fire. Whoosh! 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 3 figures suddenly appeared in the camp of the divine beginning realm. Among the 3 figures, Jian Wushuang and Lung Rushuang were walking in front, while a man in golden armor followed behind them with a cold expression. The man in golden armor was burly like an iron tower, guarding Jian Wushuang's side. He had been staying in the blood-red gourd, and had also submitted to the devil flame under Jian Wushuang's command. Over the years, the devil flame had absorbed the gold-devouring divine body formed by the gold fire magic stone, ice essence crystal, and blood dragon crystal. It had already recovered 20% of its original state. After that, the soul of the devil flame guided the gold-devouring divine body out of the blood-red gourd and turned into a burly man in gold armor, following Jian Wushuang. Stone fire. Jian Wushuang sent a message. Soon, the Star Lord, Taoist Shen God, and Temporal Temple Master arrived in front of Jian Wushuang. Master, the Star Lord bowed respectfully to Jian Wushuang. My young friend, you're here. Taoist Shen God and the others simply greeted him. Stone fire, I asked you to cultivate the battle formation for these Principles Masters and my servants. How are they doing now? Jian Wushuang asked. Don't worry, Master. The army of Principles Masters has been cultivating the battle formation in my way for years. Although there are many experts in their battle formation, the battle formation itself is not very complicated. They are all Principles Masters, so they can easily master the battle formation. Now that they have basically mastered it, they can fully unleash the power of the battle formation. As for your slaves, they have been cultivating in the Temporal Tower and have almost mastered the Immortal Dipper battle formation through the flow of time. They have been practicing it secretly for more than 300 years. Now, once the Immortal Dipper battle formation is used, its power will be extremely powerful. However, the Immortal Dipper battle formation is a trump card, including the strength of your slaves. The Devil Cloudstar has not received any news about it. So I asked them to hide for the time being and wait for a critical moment to attack, said the ruler Spark. Well, you did a good job. Jian Wushuang nodded. He was very satisfied with what the ruler Spark had done over the years. Shen God, I don't understand. Why did you choose to fight with Devil Cloudstar in the universe void closest to the divine beginning realm? Jian Wushuang asked in puzzlement. Although they were already in the universe void, the divine beginning realm was behind them. The distance was too close. Once the battle broke out, if the power of both sides was slightly out of control, the power of the attack could very possibly affect the divine beginning realm. It would also bring a lot of damage to the divine beginning realm. Heavenly Marquis, you don't know this, but we have no choice but to choose this place. After all, we have to leave a way out for ourselves and countless experts in the divine beginning realm. Taoist Shen God said. A way out? Jian Wushuang frowned, still puzzled. Taoist Shen God explained, Devil Cloudstar is a second-grade star world after all. No one knows how strong Devil Cloudstar Master is. Although we have gathered about 70% of the upper echelons of the star field and the experts you brought back, no one knows whether they can defeat the Devil Cloudstar army. It would be good if we won in the end, but if we lost, then we would have to make plans for the countless cultivators in the divine beginning realm. That's why we chose this place as the battlefield. This place is the universe void. It can allow the great beings of both sides to display their strongest combat power. It can completely allow both sides to fight to the death. If our side has the advantage, then we can naturally exterminate the Devil Cloudstar army in one go. And even if we lose, the great beings of our divine beginning realm can immediately choose to flee back to the divine beginning realm. After all, the divine beginning realm is only a third-grade astral world, and it repels foreign experts, especially cultivators above the ruler realm. They simply cannot display much combat power in the divine beginning realm. Even though that Devil Cloudstar Master has possessed the divine beginning realm and is the heavenly Tao will of the divine beginning realm, he still has to follow the principles of the universe. Even if his true body enters the divine beginning realm, he will not be able to display his peak strength. At that time, our camp can continue to fight with Devil Cloudstar in the divine beginning realm. Of course, if we fight in the divine beginning realm, it will be very passive for our camp. Master Devil Cloud can completely ignore us and continue to think of ways to accelerate the evolution of the divine beginning realm. However, without the existence of forces like the three Saint Realms, our camp can constantly interfere with the experts under his command. This will more or less affect his plans and buy more time for the divine beginning realm. Hearing this, Jian Wushuang could not help but fall silent. He understood what Shen God meant. In fact, there were only 3 outcomes in the following battle. The first outcome, which was what they desired the most, was to kill Devil Cloudstar Master. As long as Devil Cloudstar Master died, all the dangers could be resolved without the power of his will of heavenly Tao, which dominated the divine beginning realm. The second outcome was to settle for the second best outcome. If he could not kill Devil Cloudstar Master, he had to completely defeat the Devil Cloudstar army, so that the forces under his command could not infiltrate the divine beginning realm. In that case, even if Devil Cloudstar Master was still alive and still dominated the will of the heavenly Tao in the divine beginning realm, if he did not have any help in the divine beginning realm, it would speed up the evolution process of the divine realm. His plan to improve his strength would certainly be greatly affected. Even if he did not stop moving forward, his speed would be greatly reduced. This would buy Jian Wushuang a lot of time to break through to the ruler realm. The divine beginning realm could accept either of these 2 results. However, if neither of these 2 results could be achieved, there would only be one final result left. This kind of result was something that countless great beings of the divine beginning realm were not willing to see. It was that the divine beginning realm's camp had been defeated by the Devil Cloudstar army, and countless great beings of the divine beginning realm could only flee back to the divine beginning realm, relying on the divine beginning realm's rejection of the great beings of the outside world. They continued to tangle and fight with the Devil Cloudstar army. However, this kind of result was too passive. Moreover, that Devil Cloudstar Master probably would not give them any more chances. Just like that time long years ago, during the battle of the 7-star mysterious sect. At that time, The divine beginning realm didn't have the ability to contend with Devil Cloud Star. Therefore, at that time, the seven-star mysterious sect didn't dare to run to the void outside the universe to fight with Devil Cloud Star. They could only passively stay in the divine beginning realm. They thought of a way to tangle with Devil Cloud Star Master. But in the end, they were still disintegrated by Devil Cloud Star from the inside. The three great holy regions directly led the forces of the divine beginning realm, and some rulers of the Devil Cloud Star from the outside world assisted in destroying the seven-star mysterious sect. The gap between the two sides was too big. The forces of the divine beginning realm basically had no room to struggle. The top forces of the divine beginning realm also knew this, so they compromised. However, it was different now. The divine beginning realm had the ability to fight with Devil Cloud Star, so they chose to fight head-on with Devil Cloud Star Master in the universe void at the edge of the divine beginning realm. I understand. Let's go and have a look around. Jian Wushuang held Lung Rushuang's hand, and the couple walked in the middle of the void. Taoist Shen God, Ruler Spark, and the others followed him. Jian Wushuang's soul power had already covered the void, so he could sense the aura of countless Principles Masters. He knew some of these Principles Masters, such as Temple Master Bai Xing, Batsong, Spirit Ancestor, Serene Ancestor, and the others from the Temporal Temple and the Heaven Ancestor Taoist sect. There were also many Principles Masters from the Nine-Tailed clan. The aura of these experts he was familiar with was obviously much stronger than before. Apparently, they had been cultivating in the three-layered Tao realm over the years. Although they had not broken through to become rulers, they had made great progress. Eh? Jian Wushuang's expression changed, but he suddenly looked in a direction. In that direction, there were dozens of auras of Principles Masters gathered, most of which were women. Are they from the Supreme Emotion-Forgetting Valley? Jian Wushuang narrowed his eyes slightly and glanced at Lung Rushuang beside him. Shuang accompany me to meet some acquaintances. Yes. Lung Rushuang nodded. As Jian Wushuang moved, he soon arrived at the void where the experts of the Supreme Emotion-Forgetting Valley were. How are you all from the Supreme Emotion-Forgetting Valley? Jian Wushuang's voice was a little cold. His eyes swept across the experts of the Supreme Emotion-Forgetting Valley. The Supreme Emotion-Forgetting Valley was indeed a big force in the divine beginning realm, but it was not the top force. The number of Principles Masters was not too many, but now there were more than 30 Principles Masters gathered here. Apparently, because of the Triple Tao world, many immortal saints in the Supreme Emotion-Forgetting Valley had broken through to become Principles Masters. Heavenly Sword Marquis? The people of the Supreme Emotion-Forgetting Valley immediately recognized Jian Wushuang and were shocked. After all, the current Heavenly Sword Marquis was vastly different from before in terms of strength and status. My greetings, Blood Sword Master. The gray-haired old woman standing at the front of the experts of Supreme Emotion-Forgetting Valley saluted respectfully and shouted. The old Valley Master of Supreme Emotion-Forgetting Valley? Jian Wushuang narrowed his eyes slightly. He had met the old Valley Master several times before, and it was because of the old Valley Master that he had to compromise and take Lung Rushuang's soul body away. After that, he had finally awakened his wife's soul body and rebuilt her divine body. Looking at the old Valley Master in front of him, Jian Wushuang's eyes were slightly cold. Lung Rushuang, who was standing beside him, fixed her beautiful eyes on a beautiful figure behind the old Valley Master. Jian Wushuang also looked at the beautiful figure. It was indeed a stunning woman, and her appearance and temperament were very similar to Lang Rushuang's. However, because Lung Rushuang had reconstructed her divine body with the heart of the astral world, her divine body was more perfect than the woman in front of her. Husband. Who is that woman? Lung Rushuang asked with confusion. She is your second life. You are one with her, but now she is her and you are you, Jian Wushuang said. Is that so? Lung Rushuang nodded slightly, but she looked at him with more curiosity. Jian Wushuang looked at the woman and noticed that her aura was very strong. She had reached the pinnacle of the 6 void realms, and the most important thing was that her aura was too cold. It was so cold and perfect that there seemed to be no emotion on her face. Although she stood there, her expression did not change at all. Whether Jian Wushuang came or looked into Lung Rushuang's eyes, she was a real, emotionless person, just like the principle of the Supreme Emotion-Forgetting Valley. she forgot all feelings. Apparently, she had also cultivated the unique divine skill of the supreme emotion-forgetting valley. Compared to the old valley master, she was more perfect and had a higher level of cultivation. Now, she was truly like a fairy, unworldly. She no longer has any emotions. What's the difference between such a person and a walking corpse? Jian Wushuang shook his head secretly. The unique divine skill of the supreme emotion-forgetting valley was very powerful, but the price was unacceptable to Jian Wushuang. Blood Sword Master. The person beside you should be your wife, right? The old valley master, Mai Yi, looked over with a smile on her face. It seems that you've found the Ice Heart Glazed Jade, Blood Sword Master. Ice Heart Glazed Jade? Jian Wushuang's eyes turned cold. I'm still very angry about the Ice Heart Glazed Jade. Mai Yi, how dare you lie to me? Lie? Blood Sword Master, how can you say that? Mai Yi asked in surprise. Humph, you said that my wife's soul was attached to the star moon Agarwood for hundreds of millions of years. It was safe. At most, it would take hundreds or thousands of years for my wife's soul to wake up. However, after tens of thousands of years, or even 100,000 years, my wife's soul did not wake up until I met an expert who told me that the star moon Agarwood could not maintain my wife's soul forever. My wife's soul has been attached to the star moon Agarwood. Her soul has been damaged, and the Ice Heart Glazed Jade can't restore her divine body. If I didn't get a higher-level treasure by chance, I might never see my wife again. Jian Wushuang's voice was extremely cold. What? Mai Yi was shocked. How could it be? The 100-million-year star moon Agarwood should be able to preserve your wife's soul. No, Blood Sword Master. Forgive my ignorance. I did think that your wife's soul would be protected by the 100-million-year star moon Agarwood. I didn't expect it to be like this. Mai Yi was also anxious. She knew how important Lung Wushuang was to Jian Wushuang. Otherwise, Jian Wushuang would not have been so crazy for her. With Jian Wushuang's current strength and status, if he really wanted to pursue the previous matter, she could not bear the slightest bit of anger. Jian Wushuang coldly glanced at Mai Yi, and the anger in his heart gradually subsided. He could see that Mai Yi was not lying. At least, she did not deliberately deceive him. She thought that the star moon Agarwood was enough to protect his wife. Well, now that I have reunited with my wife, I can't be bothered to punish you. The battle with Devil Cloudstar is coming soon. You, the people of the supreme emotion-forgetting valley, should do your best in this battle. Jian Wushuang snorted coldly, then he turned around and left. Lung Wushuang took a deep look at the woman who looked like her and left. Seeing Jian Wushuang leave, the people of the supreme emotion-forgetting valley heaved a sigh of relief. After walking around the area where many principals masters gathered, Jian Wushuang came to the place where many rulers gathered. Because of the Triple Tao world, there were many new rulers in the divine beginning realm. Jian Wushuang was very familiar with some of them. Ha! Qinhua, congratulations on becoming a ruler. Jian Wushuang went directly to Demon Master Qinhua. Demon Master Qinhua had reached the pinnacle of the 6 void realms when he was in the divine beginning realm. With the help of the Triple Tao world, he had broken through to the ruler level. He could be said to be the first ruler created by the Triple Tao world. As for Di Shirsan, who had broken through earlier than him, he had broken through by relying on his own strength. It had nothing to do with the Triple Tao world. Heavenly Sword Marquis, no, I should call you Blood Sword Master now. It's rare that you can still remember me with your current status and identity. Demon Master Qinhua smiled. You've been by my side for so many years. How could I forget your kindness? Jian Wushuang smiled. When he was weak, he did not have many good friends in the divine beginning realm, and Demon Master Qinhua was definitely one of them. And Demon Master Qinhua had indeed helped him a lot. Now that Demon Master Qinhua had broken through to the ruler realm, because of Jian Wushuang, he was immediately bestowed with several supreme true treasures. Not only did he have a supreme true treasure magic weapon, but he also had a supreme true treasure armor. He also had a domain-type supreme true treasure and a flying-type supreme true treasure. With these supreme true treasures, Demon Master Qinhua's life-saving ability would be greatly improved in the upcoming battle with Devil Cloud Star. Jian Wushuang and Demon Master Qinhua exchanged casual greetings, but at this moment, he noticed two figures next to him. Elder Darkbone, Ming Yun? Jian Wushuang's expression changed as he walked forward. Blood Sword Master. Both Elder Darkbone and Ming Yun were extremely humble. You two are here too. Darkbone. Have you also broken through to become a ruler? Jian Wushuang looked at Elder Darkbone and could sense the aura of a ruler emanating from him. To tell you the truth, I have already become a ruler a long time ago, Darkbone said. Oh! Jian Wushuang was stunned. My dear Heavenly Marquis, Darkbone has been on my side for a long time. It's just that no one knows about it, Taoist Shen God said. Is that so? Jian Wushuang understood. No wonder Darkbone had been helping him in the past. Turned out that he was on his side from the beginning. After all, the divine beginning realm is our hometown. Although I, Darkbone, am not very capable, I will not turn a blind eye to the desperate situation of my hometown. Elder Darkbone laughed. As for Ming Yun, he and I are good friends. He came with me this time. Although we cannot help much in this battle, we can at least contribute. Jian Wushuang nodded. The great battle was about to begin. The experts of the divine beginning realm were united. Only in this way could they have a chance of winning the battle with Devil Cloud Star. At this moment, Ruler Qinyun suddenly sent a message. Blood Sword Master, I have bad news. Ruler Qinyun's voice was a little low. Bad news? Jian Wushuang frowned. What happened? Blood Sword Master, when I sent you a message, I told you that the universe boat on Devil Cloud Star stopped for a while when it passed by a star field. Before, the 9 Emperor Pavilion did not know why the universe boat stopped there, but now we have figured it out. Ruler Qinyun paused. He continued, Devil Cloud Star's universe boat stopped in that star field because of an expert from that star field. Shihua Divine Emperor. Shihua Divine Emperor? Jian Wushuang remembered the name. That Shihua Divine Emperor is a 4th level ruler. Although he is only at the elementary level of the 4th level, he is very famous in many star fields nearby. Moreover, he is very familiar with Devil Cloud Star Master and they seem to be on good terms. This time, when Devil Cloud Star passed by the sea of consciousness of that star field, he was invited to come to this star field with him, Ruler Qinyun said. What did you say? Jian Wushuang's expression immediately changed. Are you saying that in the universe boat that Devil Cloud Star is currently on, besides Devil Cloud Star Master, there is also a 4th level ruler, Shihua Divine Emperor? That's right. Ruler Qinyun nodded slightly. Damn it! Jian Wushuang clenched his hands, but he could not help cursing in his heart. Devil Cloud Star Master alone was already very difficult to deal with. Although he had prepared many methods over the years, which gave him some confidence to face Devil Cloud Star Master, he was still not absolutely sure that he could win this battle. But now, in addition to Devil Cloud Star Master, there was also an Shihua Divine Emperor. They were both 4th level rulers. If Shihua Divine Emperor made a move, his battle strength could completely influence or even change the entire battle situation. Ruler Qinyun, can you confirm the relationship between Devil Cloud Star Master and Shihua Divine Emperor? If it comes to a critical moment, will he definitely make a move? Jian Wushuang asked immediately. Of course, I can confirm the relationship between them. They are indeed good friends. Some experts in the surrounding star fields have heard about this, but I can't guarantee that Shihua Divine Emperor will not make a move when the battle begins, said Ruler Qinyun. Jian Wushuang's eyes narrowed. Shihua Divine Emperor and Devil Cloud Star Master were good friends. Now that they were on the universe boat in Devil Cloud Star, Shihua Divine Emperor would most likely attack when the war began if Devil Cloud Star's side was defeated. In other words, in this war, they had another enemy who had reached the level of a 4th level master. It was indeed bad news. Fortunately, although Shihua is also a 4th level master, he is not very strong. The 3 most powerful experts of our camp should be able to fight him easily. The real threat to our camp is Devil Cloud Star Master, Jian Wushuang muttered. Shihua's arrival was beyond Jian Wushuang's expectations and brought him some pressure, but it was still within his range. Blood Sword Master, the universe boat that Devil Cloud Star is on has arrived in this star field. It's rushing to the divine beginning realm as fast as it can. I think it'll take at most half a day, Ruler Qinyun said. Half a day. Jian Wushuang's expression was cold. All the experts in the divine beginning realm are ready to die. Now, we're just waiting for them to arrive. In the void where countless experts gathered, a solemn atmosphere had already gathered. As the news of the arrival of the Devil Cloud Star army spread, a large number of experts in the void were ready. Countless principles masters rose up. They had already formed one huge battle formation after another. The numerous principles masters within the battle formation were also gathering their strength and waiting for the next big battle. Half a day later, under the gaze of hundreds of thousands of great beings from the divine beginning realm camp, an ancient and incomparably huge universe boat slowly sailed over from the universe void space at the very front. This universe boat was too big. It was at least 10 times bigger than the universe boat that Stone Ruler Spark had obtained back then. On this ancient universe boat stood countless great beings. In the depths of the universe boat, there was a powerful and even terrifying aura circling. The Devil Cloud Star army has arrived. In a nearby universe void space, 3 figures stood there calmly. These 3 figures were the 3 pavilion masters from 9 Emperor Pavilion, and the leader was Dark Cloud Ruler. When the 3 of them saw the enormous universe boat descend and appear in the void space, they were secretly amazed. Devil Cloud Star is a level 2 star world after all. It has countless experts under its command, and there are close to 100 rulers. Devil Cloud Star Master previously took over a star world, and now he has broken through to the level 4 realm. In addition, he has an existence called Shihua Divine Emperor with him. I wonder if the divine beginning realm will be able to withstand such a lineup. It would be fine if we could block it, but if we can't, the death of the divine beginning realm is still a small matter. The key is that Blood Sword Master might also die, another pavilion master said with a frown. To the 9 Emperor Pavilion, they did not care about the life and death of the divine beginning realm. The only thing they cared about was Jian Wushuang's life or death. After all, Jian Wushuang was a real super genius, and his name was already on the 9 Emperor list. If he could grow up in the future, it would be beneficial to the 9 Emperor Pavilion. Unfortunately, the 9 Emperor Pavilion does not compete for ruler and does not participate in the fights between the various forces. Although the Blood Sword Master is on the 9 Emperor list, the 9 Emperor Pavilion will only provide him with some basic help, but we will not help him out of the crisis. Whether he lives or dies in this battle depends on himself. Ruler Qinyun shook his head secretly. The 9 Emperor Pavilion would not care about the experts on the 9 Emperor list, especially the young experts who had not yet grown up. For example, although the 9 Emperor Pavilion valued geniuses like him, they would not help Jian Wushuang much. Even if Jian Wushuang was in a desperate situation, the 9 Emperor Pavilion would not help him. This was the iron principle of the 9 Emperor Pavilion. After all, there were so many geniuses on the 9 Emperor list. If the 9 Emperor Pavilion helped anyone who was threatened, the 9 Emperor Pavilion would pay too much and would not be able to handle it. Moreover, the path of cultivation could not be smooth sailing. Anyone who wanted to become a top expert had to go through trials and tribulations. The 9 Emperor Pavilion was willing to see the genius experts on the 9 Emperor list meet with danger, because in the eyes of the 9 Emperor Pavilion, these dangers were just some tempering. Only experts who could truly grow through the tempering and reach the top level of the universe were qualified to ask the 9 Emperor Pavilion to help them. The current Jian Wushuang was still far from that level. I hope Blood Sword Master can survive this time, Ruler Qinyun thought. The ancient and huge universe boat appeared in the void at the edge of the divine beginning realm. Hundreds of thousands of cultivators in the divine beginning realm looked at the ancient universe boat with serious expressions. Finally, it's here. Jian Wushuang narrowed his eyes, and there was a fierce gleam in the depths of his eyes. His wife, Lung Rushuang, stood beside him. Taoist Shen God, Temporal Temple Master, Heaven-Cleaving Alliance Master, and the Heaven Ancestor stood beside Jian Wushuang as well. There were many high-level experts in the divine beginning realm, looking at the ancient universe boat in front of them. Their expressions were solemn, and their hearts were slightly trembling. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The ancient universe boat finally came to a complete stop in the dark void. Then, countless figures rushed out of the universe boat like wasps. These people were the great beings under the command of Devil Cloud Star, and they were all Principles Masters. As for the number, it was much less than the Divine Beginning Realms camp, which only had 100,000 people. However, although the Principles Masters in the Devil Cloud Star army could not be compared with the Divine Beginning Realms camp in terms of numbers, these Principles Masters of Devil Cloud Star were all wearing the same black armor, and even the godly weapons in their hands. They were all the same standard divine weapons, and their auras were all magnificent and tyrannical. 100,000 Principles Masters were at least at the peak of the Void 5th level, and more than half of them were at the Void 6th level. In terms of quality, these Principles Masters in the Devil Cloud Star army were much stronger than the Principles Masters in the Divine Beginning Realm. Although the Divine Beginning Realm had an army of 700,000 Principles Masters, forming an army formation of 7 people with 100,000 people, the strength of these 700,000 people was uneven. Even though there were quite a number of Void 6th level Principles Masters among them, in terms of numbers, however, they were not as many as Devil Cloud Star's side. This was merely a simple comparison of numbers and quality. However, in a real battle, the coordination of the army, the degree of tacit understanding, and all sorts of methods were the key to victory. Although the Divine Beginning Realm side had an army of 700,000 people, if they really wanted to fight against the army of 100,000 Principles Masters from Devil Cloud Star, they might not have the confidence to win completely. Suddenly, whoosh, 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 whoosh. More than 100 streams of light rushed out of the ancient universe boat and appeared at the front of the army of 100,000 Principles Masters. These streams of light were the ruler-level experts of the Devil Cloud Star camp. There were more than 100 of them, led by Devil Cloud Star Master and Shihua Divine Emperor. Is he Devil Cloud Star Master? Jian Wushuang stared at the most conspicuous person in the crowd. It was a middle-aged man who looked extremely elegant. He stood at the front of the army with his hands behind his back. There was a smile on his face, and a faint golden light appeared in his eyes. He gave off an extremely demonic feeling. The root of the war was Devil Cloud Master, and also the true source of the disaster in the Divine Beginning Realm. Devil Cloud Master looks very ordinary. He doesn't look very scary. I can't sense his aura. Jian Wushuang narrowed his eyes slightly. He knew that the more ordinary Devil Cloud Star Master looked, the more extraordinary he was. The man in purple armor next to him should be Shihua Divine Emperor? Jian Wushuang looked at Shihua Divine Emperor again. They were both 4th-level rulers, so Jian Wushuang did not dare to underestimate Shihua Divine Emperor. Eh? Jian Wushuang's expression suddenly changed, and his eyes immediately locked onto a ruler behind Devil Cloud Star Master. Ruler Starfall. Jian Wushuang's pupils constricted, and a trace of sharpness flashed in his eyes. He knew Ruler Starfall, but he had never seen the Sorcerer God's real body, so he could not recognize him. However, Taoist Shen God and the others immediately recognized him. It's the Sorcerer God? The Sorcerer God is very cunning. When the 3 Saint Realms were destroyed, the 3 Masters of the Saint Realm were killed, but the Sorcerer God fled far away. We have been looking for him all these years, but we haven't been able to find him. We really don't know where he has been hiding all these years. Taoist Shen God, Temporal Temple Master, and the others looked at the Sorcerer God with killing intent in their eyes. Ha! I didn't expect you to reach such a level in such a short time. Jian Wushuang, you really surprised me. A hearty laughter suddenly sounded. The faint golden light in the eyes of the Devil Cloud Star Master suddenly became more dazzling, making him look even more evil. Devil Cloud Master, this should be the first time I've seen your real body. Moreover, I've been waiting for this day for a long time, Jian Wushuang said in a cold voice. I've been looking forward to meeting you, Jian Wushuang. After all, you're the most powerful genius I've ever met in my cultivation. Even your master, Xianxia, can't compare to you in terms of talent and potential. Devil Cloud Master sneered. Master! Jian Wushuang's eyes turned cold. The simple conversation had already caused Jian Wushuang to be filled with a shocking killing intent. After all, his master, Xianxia, had died at the hands of the Star Master. Jian Wushuang, I heard that you are now the publicly acknowledged #1 expert in this star field. I'm very curious about your current strength. The Star Master smiled and suddenly waved his hand. A towering throne materialized behind him. He sat on the throne and looked down at everything. Tao Shi, Devil Cloud Star Master said. Star Master. A man over 2 meters tall and as strong as a brown bear walked out. Go up and test this little guy's strength. Remember, don't kill him at the beginning, or it will be boring. Devil Cloud Star Master said playfully. Yes. The burly man, who looked like a brown bear, immediately stepped forward. Which one is Jian Wushuang? Come up and die. The burly man, who looked like a brown bear, stood in front of the hundreds of thousands of soldiers in the divine beginning realm and shouted loudly. His voice shook the sky and was very arrogant. However, Jian Wushuang frowned. What does Devil Cloud Master want to do? Fight in front? Is it necessary? Jian Wushuang was puzzled, but he immediately noticed the special gazes around him. These gazes came from the experts of the divine beginning realm. At this moment, hundreds of thousands of experts were staring at him. These gazes were filled with anticipation and fanaticism. Just as Devil Cloud Star Master had said, Jian Wushuang was now the undisputed strongest expert in the star field, and one of the biggest supporters of the Divine Beginning Realm's camp in this battle. Countless cultivators in the Divine Beginning Realm undoubtedly regarded him as their backbone. If Jian Wushuang won this battle, it would be fine, but if he lost, it would be a huge blow to his own camp. It would definitely be a huge blow. One had to know that Devil Cloud Master's subordinate was the only one who had come to challenge him. If he could not even defeat his subordinate, then there was no need to fight anymore. It seems that Devil Cloud Master wants to win this battle more easily. Jian Wushuang's face was cold. He noticed that many people around him were looking at him expectantly. He knew that he could not back down from this battle. He had to accept the challenge and defeat or even kill his opponent cleanly. Only then would their morale not be affected. Taking a deep breath, Jian Wushuang stepped forward and stopped in front of the burly man. You are Jian Wushuang? A principal's master. The burly man glanced at Jian Wushuang with disdain. A principal's master was just an ant. He did not know why his star master wanted him to deal with an ant. Although he did not understand, the burly man said in a deep voice, I'm Tao Shi, the 4th divine general under the Star Master. The Star Master told me not to kill you at the beginning, so don't worry. I won't let you die so quickly. But if you're too weak and can't even take my simplest attack, then you can't blame me if you die. If you don't kill me first, I'll kill you first, Jian Wushuang said coldly. Ha, you're so arrogant. Tao Shi laughed coldly, but a fierce aura rose from his body. This aura was earth-shaking. Many cultivators in the divine beginning realm were shocked at once. Could not be helped. The strength of the cultivators in this star field was too low. Before, the strongest had only reached the 2nd level. Now, Tao Shi's aura was clearly at the 3rd level. The cultivators in this star field had never seen a ruler at the 3rd level. Now that they felt this aura, they were naturally terrified. However, after Jian Wushuang sensed this aura, his expression remained calm. This aura is only at the 3rd level primary ruler level, and it's very ordinary among the 3rd level primary rulers. Any 3rd level ruler in the Eternal Dark Prison would probably be stronger than him. With such strength, there's no need to waste time. Just kill him. Jian Wushuang did not care about Tao Shi at all. With a flip of his right hand, Wu Weeping Divine Sword appeared in his hand. As the aura of the principal true treasure spread out, the eyes of many rulers in the Devil Cloud Star, including the Star Master and Shihua Divine Emperor, lit up. Jian Wushuang had already made his move. Buzz, buzz, buzz. A hazy fog like a domain swept out majestically. In the blink of an eye, the entire world was covered by this mist. Within the area covered by the hazy mist, a sword formation had already taken shape. Tao Shi stood on the spot, unable to block the spread of the mist at all. He was already at the center of this hazy mist, and at the same time, he sensed the special power contained within the mist. Is this a formation? Tao Shi frowned. and a huge axe appeared in his hand. Suddenly, a cold light lit up. A huge sword shadow came slashing down from the fog. It was so fast that it was incredible. It appeared directly from the fog. Tao Shi did not see how Jian Wushuang attacked. By the time he reacted, the huge sword shadow had already appeared in front of him. He did not even have time to swing his giant axe to block the sword shadow. Bang! The sword shadow did not suffer any obstruction as it struck Tao Shi's divine body. Tao Shi's divine body shook violently as he spat out a huge mouthful of blood. The aura on his body was directly weakened by more than 20% at this moment. How is this possible? Tao Shi's eyes widened. As the fourth divine general under the Devil Cloud Star Master, he clearly had monstrous strength. Moreover, the huge axe was already in his hand, but he did not have the time to make a move. His divine power had already been annihilated by more than 20%. Hua! Another giant sword shadow came, followed by the third, the fourth, and the fifth. No! Tao Shi let out a shrill scream. He crazily waved the giant axe in his hand, trying to block it. However, he only managed to block one of the 5 sword shadows. The other 4 hit his divine body directly. All of Tao Shi's divine power was destroyed. Buzz! The hazy fog in the sky dissipated, and the world returned to peace. Jian Wushuang had already put away his Wuqi divine sword. He stood quietly in the universe void, and under his feet was Tao Shi's cold corpse. It only took a moment for the fog to dissipate, but Tao Shi, the fourth divine general under the command of Devil Cloud Star Master, still died on the spot. He's dead. That Tao Shi is dead. In just a split second, I didn't even have time to react. This so-called fourth divine general has already been killed. Did you see that? This is Blood Sword Master, the #1 expert in our star field. He's too strong. Blood Sword Master is too strong. With Blood Sword Master around, that Devil Cloud Star Master is nothing. The countless cultivators from the Divine Beginning Realm camp were completely shocked. Because the battle just now was too fast. They only saw the fog spread out. As for what happened in the fog, they did not even have time to see it clearly before the fog spread out again. And the fourth divine general Tao Shi, who had been shouting just now. The fourth divine general Tao Shi, who had burst out with a monstrous aura, had died. In just a moment, Jian Wushuang had completely conquered them with his absolute strength. The result of this battle immediately boosted the morale of the cultivators from the Divine Beginning Realm camp. They had been a little apprehensive about the result of this battle, but now, because of Jian Wushuang, they were full of confidence and almost thought that they could win this battle. We won this battle beautifully. The Heavenly Marquis is too powerful. I can feel that Tao Shi's aura is much stronger than ours, but he was killed in front of the Heavenly Marquis. The rulers of the Divine Beginning Realm camp were also pleasantly surprised and excited. They all knew that Jian Wushuang had easily won and killed his opponent, which had a great impact on the battle. Master strength has increased again. Among Jian Wushuang's many slaves, only Ruler Spark was standing among the experts of the Divine Beginning Realm camp. The others had hidden themselves. Ruler Spark was also secretly surprised at this moment. He knew Jian Wushuang's strength. 1,000 years ago, in the Eternal Dark Prison, although Jian Wushuang's strength was strong enough, he could only use the Wave Light Sword formation to trap and slowly kill his opponent. However, in the past 1,000 years, Jian Wushuang had been cultivating in the Temporal Tower, and his strength had obviously increased a lot, especially in the sword formation. Both the Wave Light Sword formation and the Earth Protection Sword formation had been greatly improved. Of course, the Divine Body, which had cultivated the 3rd level of the Supreme Immortal Celestial Body and was comparable to the most powerful Supreme Treasure, gave Jian Wushuang a stronger divine power. What Jian Wushuang had just displayed was the Hazy Sword formation derived from the Obscure Sword skill. This sword formation was an absolute killing sword formation. It was also extremely powerful when displayed by Jian Wushuang. At present, Jian Wushuang could easily kill an ordinary 3rd-level ruler without using any trump cards and relying solely on the Obscure Sword formation. The entire universe void was in a state of chaos and madness because of the result of the battle between Jian Wushuang and Tao Shi. The cultivators in the divine beginning realm were all pleasantly surprised and excited, while those on the Devil Cloud Star were the exact opposite. When they saw that their fourth divine general had been killed so easily, they were all shocked. They knew how powerful this fourth divine general, Tao Shi, was. The 6 great divine generals under the command of the Devil Cloud Star Master were all similar in strength. Even the first divine general was not much stronger than the 6th divine general. It could be said that these 6 great divine generals were the strongest warriors under the command of the Devil Cloud Star Master. Of course, the Devil Cloud Star Master himself was far above these 6 great divine generals. But now, the 4th divine general was killed so easily. In the entire Devil Cloud Star camp, only their Star Master could contend with the other party. I originally wanted to slightly suppress the other party's morale, but I didn't expect it to be a trap for myself. Devil Cloud Master also frowned. Jian Wuxuang had killed Tao Shi so cleanly. This was clearly beyond his expectations. However, Jian Wuxuang's increase in strength is indeed beyond my expectations. Devil Cloud Star Master thought to himself. A mere Principles Master was able to kill a 3rd-level ruler in an instant. This Principles Master is very powerful. I've cultivated for almost a chaos cycle and have seen many genius experts, but I've never seen such a heaven-defying Principles Master. Shi Hua Divine Emperor was also amazed. No matter how heaven-defying he is, he will still die if he dares to block my path. Devil Cloud Star Master erupted with a shocking killing intent. There's no need to waste any more time. Just attack. Kill him. Devil Cloud Star Master sat on his throne and casually waved his hand. However, the moment he waved his hand, the densely packed army of 100,000 Principles Masters behind him instantly moved. Kill! A shocking battle cry suddenly sounded. The 100,000 people spoke at the same time, but the sound they made was as if it was made by one person. Moreover, this voice was filled with a shocking killing intent. For a moment, the entire universe void trembled. The army of 100,000 Principles Masters was like a huge war machine that directly operated. Countless human figures rushed out at the same time. Even though they rushed out at the same time, this army was orderly and orderly. There was no disorder. A terrifying killing intent filled the world. The moment the army of 100,000 Principles Masters started to operate, the eyes of countless cultivators in the camp of the divine beginning realm turned red, and they even became crazy. These cultivators all took out their true treasures one by one. The lowest one was top tier, and even top-tier true treasures appeared in their hands. The godly power of countless Principles Masters rushed into the sky. Fight! With a roar, the desire to fight soared into the sky. In the next moment, an army of 700,000 Principles Masters formed 7 huge battle formations. Like 7 war beasts, they charged out. Compared to the entire army of 100,000 Principles Masters on Devil Cloud Star, the 7 war beasts on the side of the divine beginning realm were not as perfect, but their momentum was not weak at all. The most important thing was the numbers. After all, it was 7 against 1. Even if the quality of the Principles Masters on Devil Cloud Star's army was higher than the divine beginning realm side, the divine beginning realm side was not afraid at all. In the blink of an eye, the 2 armies clashed head-on. This ultimate war that had begun a long time ago and determined the life and death of countless creatures in the divine beginning realm had finally erupted from this moment. The great battle had begun, and heaven and earth were enraged. Pong! 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 A series of earth-shattering and terrifying rumbles suddenly rang out. The 2 armies formed a battle formation, combining the powers of all the Principles Masters together. At the first moment, they carried out a terrifying collision attack. That shock wave was shocking to the world, causing the surrounding universe void space to tremble crazily. Black holes even appeared out of thin air. In the first collision alone of the 7 war beasts on the side of divine beginning realm, 2 were directly pushed back. The entire war beast was trembling madly and almost collapsed. The battle formation was also formed by 100,000 Principles Masters. A single war beast was not a match for the Devil Cloud Star army. Even if there were 2 or more war behemoths, they might not be able to contend against the Devil Cloud Star army. However, the divine beginning realm still had 700,000 Principles Masters, forming a total of 7 war behemoths. Although one of these 7 war behemoths was not a match for the Devil Cloudstar army, the 7 of them swarmed forward. Even though the battle formation of Devil Cloudstar's army repelled 2 of them at the first moment, the remaining 5 frantically pounced forward and unleashed terrifying attacks. They charged straight at Devil Cloudstar's army. The battle formation of Devil Cloudstar's army was like a single entity. The 100,000 Principles Masters within had obviously been working together for a long time, and they were extremely well coordinated. Even if they were to face 7 war behemoths attacking from all directions at the same time, they would still be able to withstand the attacks. At the same time, they would also be able to carry out repeated clashes and counterattacks. The 100,000 Principles Masters at the very least were at the peak of the 5th level of the Void. Once they formed a battle formation and executed it perfectly, the power of a casual attack would already surpass that of an ordinary ruler. In terms of pure power, even a ruler at the 3rd or even 4th level could not compare to them. The battle formation formed by the Devil Cloudstar army clashed against the 7 war behemoths of the Divine Beginning Realm. They did not fall into a disadvantage for a short period of time. In the surrounding void, many rulers of the Divine Beginning Realm camp stood there and looked at the battlefield in front of them. They were all extremely shocked. Hundreds of thousands of Principles Masters forming a battle formation to fight and collide again and again. This is the first time I've seen such a scene. It's not just you. We're all the same. TSK. Hundreds of thousands of Principles Masters madly fighting each other. Just thinking about it is inconceivable. The rulers were all secretly praising. Although there were quite a number of Principles Masters in this star field, hundreds of thousands of Principles Masters was still a huge number. Usually, when the 2 large factions fought, the number of Principles Masters participating in the battle would be more than 10,000. This was considered an extremely large scene. However, this scene paled in comparison to the battle before them. As expected of Devil Cloudstar. Although there are only 100,000 Principles Masters in the Devil Cloudstar army, their quality, proficiency in battle formations, and coordination are much better than the Principles Masters in the Divine Beginning Realm. Fortunately, the number is 7 to 1. Otherwise, the Divine Beginning Realm would not be a match for Devil Cloudstar. Even now, the Divine Beginning Realm would only have a slight advantage. Taoist Shen God said solemnly. Jian Wushuang nodded slightly. He could also see that the Principles Masters of the Devil Cloud army cooperated very well. Moreover, their mastery and proficiency in battle formations were far beyond that of the Principles Masters of the Divine Beginning Realm. Although there were 700,000 Principles Masters in the Divine Beginning Realm, most of them had been invited over during the past 1,000 years. Moreover, they had not arrived at once, but had arrived one after another over the past 1,000 years. Although these Principles Masters had started to familiarize themselves with the battle formation as soon as they arrived, time was limited after all. Moreover, there were simply too many of them. Even if Ruler Spark had used all his skills in such a short period of time, it was impossible for every Principles Master to have a high degree of control over the battle formation. In other words, out of the 700,000 Principles Masters in the Divine Beginning Realm, most of them had barely grasped the control of the battle formation. There were also many who did not even have the time to grasp the battle formation and had only followed the others. They could barely form the battle formation. Under such conditions, the Principles Masters in the Divine Beginning Realm could only exert 20 to 30% of their true power. This resulted in the 7 war behemoths joining hands, but in a short time, they could only compete with the Devil Cloudstar army. At most, they could only have a slight advantage. Master, it's because of me that I've disappointed you, Ruler Spark said beside Jian Wushuang. You can't be blamed for this. Jian Wushuang waved his hand. He knew very well that it was already very good for Ruler Spark to have the 700,000 Principles Masters form a battle formation in such a short period of time. In the army of Principles Masters, although we don't have much of an advantage in the Divine Beginning Realm, we still have the upper hand. Next, it's up to the battle between the higher-ups. Jian Wushuang narrowed his eyes slightly. His gaze pierced through the void and looked toward the far end of his line of sight, which was Devil Cloudstar Master. Devil Cloudstar Master was still sitting on the lofty throne lazily. looking at the battlefield from time to time. When he saw that Devil Cloudstar's army was at a slight disadvantage in the battle with the Divine Beginning Realm, he was surprised. Battle formation? And the level of this battle formation doesn't seem to be low. Devil Cloudstar Master had such an eye for things. He could see that the 7 war behemoths formed by the 700,000 Principles Masters of the Divine Beginning Realm were very impressive. It was just that those Principles Masters had a very low degree of control over the battle formation. That was why they were unable to fully unleash the power of the battle formation. This Divine Beginning Realm only began to produce a large number of Principles Masters within these few thousand years. Their army should have only been formed within these few thousand years. However, the army that was formed within such a short period of time can actually unleash such battle prowess. It seems that the Divine Beginning Realm has an expert skilled in arrays. Devil Cloud Lord thought to himself. The expert he spoke of who was skilled in arrays was naturally Ruler Spark. It is very difficult to determine the victor just by relying on the army under me. Let's look at the battle prowess of the higher-ups. Devil Cloud Master said as he slowly raised his right hand. Behind him, the eyes of over 100 rulers from Devil Cloud Star instantly focused on Devil Cloud Star Master's right hand. As the Devil Cloud Star Master waved his right hand, numerous ruler-level auras instantly erupted. The hundreds of rulers under the command of Devil Cloud Star, including many second-tier and even third-tier rulers, all moved at this moment.